here. That's me. I got some. I'm proud of it. I'm proud to hate. I'm proud of my hate. You're never gonna tell me I shouldn't hate things. Like it's such stupidity that gets put on us and we just don't even realize. You're telling me I shouldn't hate things. So when it comes to pedos, I shouldn't hate those? Get the fuck out of here. Of course I'm gonna hate pedos. Of course I'm gonna hate slave owners and slavery and, you know. Are you crazy? Like, don't use hate. It's a very strong word. Well, I feel very strongly. But at the same time, you know, hate. Like, that's just... I hate to steal from David Icke, but he broke it down really well one time. And he said that, you know, our speech is just a form of telepathy. Because the reality is all we're doing is making a bunch of clicks and whistles. And the only reason you understand me is because you live in a place where you have agreed I'm reading some sticker on the back of this car. But we've all agreed that these clicks and whistles that I'm saying mean the words that they do. But if I was, you know, if you spoke a different language, it would literally sound like just a bunch of clicks and whistles. That's all I'm doing. But because we've all agreed that hate is this blanket word to cover a large range of emotions, you know, and then it's just like, it's like love. You know, love, what does love mean? How would you describe love to somebody? Especially when we use that word so infrequently. Like for me, I don't tell people I love them. You know, I don't tell a whole bunch of random people I love them and love you. Like there's like a couple of old ladies that are involved in our lives that I might say that to just because I know it makes them feel better or whatever. But my love, what I consider love is precious. Like my cat, or my kids will ask, which cat do you love the most? And I'll be like, I don't love our cats. I like our cats, they're great. No doubt. I don't want anything bad to happen, blah, 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 blah. But I don't love them. If love is how I my wife and my children, then nothing else competes. Nothing. No one, like nothing. And I think they deserve that. They deserve that special, unique position. And every time you tell some other person, some random person, oh, I love you, then you're diminishing what you're saying to those other people, or to the people that actually matter. But again, it really doesn't. It's like, oh, I love these hamburgers, or I love this shirt, it's so soft, or whatever. Like people say that shit all the time. What's considered love, it's just this blanket word to cover a large range of emotions. And I guess it would be really weird if when somebody said I love you, you said I like you very much, I like you a whole lot. Like that might be weird, I guess, but that's how it really is. You know, I'm willing to die for who I love. I'm not willing to die for anybody else. I'll die, I'll kill for, I'll do whatever it takes for my wife and children. I'm not going to do that for anybody else. And you know, when we talk about hate, like I think instead of telling me I shouldn't hate stuff, you know, it should be more like have a balanced hate. Have a good relationship with your hatred. And I feel like I'm very, very secure and comfortable in my hatred. And I'm okay with it. Like I just can't imagine the system or anybody telling me, you shouldn't use that word is too strong, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to say about pedos? I strongly dislike pedos. I strongly dislike them. No, it's not how it works. I fucking hate them. I strongly dislike Israel and the Jays. No, I fucking hate them. I hate them. Especially the ones that are nice to your face. Like, you're the worst kind. Just because you're nice to my face doesn't make you better than the piece of shits that are at least honest about it. Right? Like, it's stupid. You just came off a submarine. I'm sure you did. I just came off a submarine, and the first thing I did was go on YouTube to find this video, this feed I've been hearing about, where this guy says that submarines aren't real. Oh. Shut up. Funny thing is, I don't even hate, I don't hate the trolls, unless they're Jay Israeli, which then it goes hand in hand, but, I don't, there's not a lot of things that I hate. The things that I hate, I'm proud to hate those things. What are you proud of? What are you so proud that you believe in that you will stand up alone and say it? I know a lot of people get that foolish, arrogance when they're in a group of people who say the same things. What the fuck are you stopping for? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? We just slowed down to 30 miles an hour on a 45-mile-an-hour road for what reason? People are stupid. What rhymes with pariah? I was watching cartoons today. Why are 80s Bugs Bunny cartoons 80s now? Why are the cartoons, like the standard cartoons, the Bugs Bunnies and shit like that were made in the early 30s, 40s, I'm not really even sure. Why are those so much better than the 80s ones? The 80s ones are stupid. They're not even watchable. I remember being a kid and not liking them. And it's not just because the voices aren't the same. Even though a lot of times they are. Mel Blanc was still doing it. Isn't that weird? Why were they able to do it better back when technology was supposedly really, really bad? Oh, this clown that I watch every day for hours at a time because I hate him so much and he calls me a pedo and I don't deny it. Right. Same day parlay. Same day pedo. Fucking disgusting J pedo. But he's not going to deny that shit. How do they have a car? Ooh. All makes sense. You make so much sense. Remember, everybody that has something shitty to say, that's instead of denying or fighting against pedo. I'm the guy that says we should cut off Israel and kill all pedos. And these are the guys that are mad at me for saying that. Right? Right? So instead of, I called the dude, flat out called him a J pedophile. And did he deny it? No, he calls me a fake wrestler. Because, I'm a wrestler. I do wrestling. Huh?
From Podstar.
Good. That dude was a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Rick Harrison. He was a piece of shit.
Screwed so many people.
Well, I can only sell it for $3,000, so I'm going to offer you $500 because I got to be able to make a profit. Don't you make a really good profit if you buy it for $500 and sell it for $600? Isn't it $100 a great profit?
Or if it's worth $3,000, give the person $2,900. You
Exactly.
Don't make $100 for doing nothing.
Exactly. It's all stupid. Yep, I'm just a poser, but I'm not a pedo like you. I'm not a dumb J pedo like you, and I'm proud of it. So you could say all you want about me being this. I'm a poser, yep, because obviously I'm trying to be something I'm not, right? I'm really worried about my hair and my earrings and all that. But again, you're a pedophile. You fuck with kids. You have nothing to say to me. All you keep proving is that you're a pedo. And you're a dumb J. And I appreciate you. I'm grateful that you're here. because you're too dumb to fucking not keep proving my point. So thank you. Thank you. Fucking weirdo pedos. Why do you think people are mad at me? Who's going to be mad at me? Most people are going to be like, fuck yeah, dude, I might not agree with you on a lot of things, but that whole pedo stuff, fuck yeah, we need to get rid of them. Not this dumbass. Why? What do you think it is? Fucking pedo. Fucking pedo. That's what it is, man. And if you don't oppose pedos, then you support them. If you're not openly fighting, like, again, if I call you a pedo and you don't say fuck you, you piece of shit, I'm not a, why the fuck, then you're acknowledging that, yeah, you're okay with it. Nobody that's not associated with pedophilia is okay with being called a pedo. Yeah, man. Yep. See, look at this dumbass. Look at these dumbasses. It's your energy that I have a problem with, Mo. My energy. You have a problem with my energy. Oh, yeah? What a dumbass. Again, if you have a problem with what I'm saying, you're probably a dumb J or a pedo. Just that simple. Obviously, you care what I think because you're here every day, you dumb pedo. You dumb J pedo. Look at these fucking idiots. And that's, I just, like I say, I appreciate it more than I can say, because if I sat here and I said, look, I'm so dangerous that these Jays, these Team Jorge Jays, try everything they can to interrupt my feed and fuck with me and try to make people not want to watch me. And if I was saying that and there was nobody here, like let me tell you my Amanda Danielle story. For those that remember Madison Star Moon, Amanda Danielle, the agent, she was a fucking agent. Like, absolutely an agent. Absolutely controlled opposition. But when I first got hurt and decided that I was going to sort of do this, this is before you could actually go live on YouTube or on Facebook. So I would make videos, 5-10 minute videos, just talking about shit and then post them. And back then, chemtrails were a big focus because I hadn't, really stumbled across these dumb Jays totally yet. And so I would talk about chemtrails a lot. I'd talk about religion a lot. But Amanda Danielle, Madison Star Moon, is a chemtrail person. Was, whatever. And so, out of the blue one day, she calls me. Or maybe we messaged previously. She messaged me like, hey, I want to talk to you, something like that. But I'm at the CVS down the road and I'm picking up a prescription. And she calls me. And she's like acting like a total crackhead. Like she's like, yeah, all these people are trying to get me and blah, 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 blah. And they keep trying to, and she says, she says that she's got she's not feeling good about it. And I'm like, listen, you got to stop worrying about other people. You're awesome. What you do is awesome. You getting all those haters is you realizing you're making an effort. You're making a dent in the situation. If you weren't, they wouldn't focus on you. And I didn't realize it till much later on, but her whole thing is to make you think that being a truther is really dangerous and scary and awful. That's what her controlled opposition, that's what her assignment is to make people think that truther is dangerous and truther is hard and truther is scary, blah, blah, blah. And so, we have this weird conversation and she's like, hey, by the way, I do this sort of round table where I have people call in and then we all sit around and we talk about it. I have a podcast that we do this on. and I had one of my guests drop out. Would you be willing to fill the hole tonight? I was, fuck yeah, I'll do it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And she's like, all right, well, just about 15 minutes before the show, call, and then we'll go from there. I'm like, all right, cool. So 15 minutes before the show, I call her, and she's like, hello? And I'm like, hey, yeah, it's Guy. And she's like, who is this? Who is this? And I'm like, it's Guy, you called me earlier. She's like, oh man, okay, because I just keep getting all these phone calls from all these random trolls, and they're just, it's so much, and I just can't take it, and blah blah blah. And she's like, I know. How about this? How about, I know they're gonna call back in a minute, and when they do, I'll bring them on, and we can both go at them. And I'm like, fine, whatever. So every time the phone would ring, she'd be like, okay, that's one of those guys. That's one of those guys. Here, hang on a second. And then she'd come back and she'd be like, oh, that was another person on the show. She was nuts.
Jesus, she was crazy.
And so this happened like for all 6 guests, right? So then we do the live thing, and right before we went live, she said, okay, so if I'm talking, you guys aren't doing your job. I'm supposed to just be a fly on the wall here, and you guys are supposed to talk. So just everybody, say a short little introduction to yourself. Once everybody introduces themselves, then we'll go from there. Well, remember, this is only like an hour-long show. So when the first few people are going like 10, 15 minutes, and they're saying the same shit over and over again, it's like, hey, we're going to run out of time here soon. And I kept sort of chiming in a little bit, but here and there, like when the people were talking, and it'd be like, well, okay, we'll talk about that when he's done talking, or once we're all introduced. But I was like, all right. So then for like the third time, because I was the low man on the totem pole, and I was, again, totally okay with it. I know my position. All these other people were much, much higher up than me. And at one point, like by the 4th person or something like that, talking about how we need to go on the gold standard and blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, stop talking about this gold standard. Those are shiny rocks. The fact that they've convinced you that shiny rocks hold value is part of the fucking problem. And it was like I flipped a switch, right? They were all just, what? You can't say, no, you're so negative. And it's like they all start attacking me. Well, one of them didn't. One of them was like, I actually agree with him on that. But everybody else is mad because I'm saying, I'm not being the right kind of truther. So eventually I just get sick of it and I hang up. And I'm like, you know what? That was fucking awful. I'm just going to let that one go. I'm not even going to talk about it. So the next day I wake up and I've got these messages. Dude, Amanda Danielle is tearing you apart. She's saying all these bad things about you, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, well, then I guess at the very least, I should put a video out telling my side of the story. She's saying, the thing she keeps focusing on is that I'm drunk all the time. Because at the time I used to drink Arizona iced teas. And I was like, are you literally talking about like the iced teas or alcohol? Are you that stupid? Are you that desperate that you can't debunk anything I'm saying, so you're making up some nonsense? And she starts going on all of my posts and saying, we don't want your drunk nonsense, something like that. Like she's like stalking me. So I make the first part, I call it Madison Star Moon Chronicles, or part 1, because I knew it was going to be more than one part. And I just lay out what I say, what I think happened, and I put it out. And then and I think after that is when she starts really stalking me and putting shit on all my posts and stuff. So then I make part 2 about what she's doing, and part 3, and I'm just explaining to the people what's happening. Like, I'm not engaging this broad. I don't give a fuck what she has to say, but I'm letting people know what this controlled opposition does or is doing. And at some point she finally realizes like she's outmatched, and she's like, hey, how about this? How about we have a truce and I won't talk about you and you don't talk about me. And I was like, I finally responded, and I'm like, oh hell no. I don't care. You talk about me all day. Like I couldn't care less what you say about me. As long as you're talking about me, that's all I care about. And I'm for sure gonna keep talking about you. And she gets all mad and whatever. So remember, this is like 2016. So I'm a little foggy on it. But she sort of like she sort of disappears. No. The whole thing like fizzles out. Like she learns her lesson. She stops talking shit, and I never planned on talking shit until she did. So like I was okay with not. I mean I bring her up whenever I can, but whatever. So I don't know how much time passes, but somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, she posted a picture, and in it she has on a Freemason ring. And when I asked her about it, she blocked me." I was like, "Oh wow, that's interesting." And then and that happens, and then she more time passes, and she puts out this video where she supposedly gets fucked with by the police, and all she's doing is filming chemtrails. Like, it's interesting, right? It's all weird how it happens. And every time something new gets brought up, by now I can go live, talk about it, whatever. I'm talking about these things, and as always, I'm inviting her. Like, if I'm wrong, please come to my show this time and tell me. You'll be the star, and you could say whatever you want. Just come have the conversation. Of course, she doesn't. So eventually, I end up with a podcast. A whole other interesting story how it worked out. But I had Matt Landman on, and this is right when he releases the movie Frankenskies. And like my first show, Matt Landman is the guest, and and it's his first announcement of Frankenskies. Frankenskies has been completed, and he's announcing it to the world on my show. And him and I start talking about Amanda Danielle, Madison Star Moon. And he said, "Yeah, you know what? There's just something weird about her. I can't place my finger on it." And he was like, she comes to the chemtrail convention or whatever, and she's walking around with a security guard and all these other things. And it was like, that's when it dawned on me what was going on. It's like, how is she? The idea of someone being a going all across the country to all these different chemtrail conventions or whatever, right? That means somebody is paying for airplane tickets, rental car, hotel, food, the house she lives in at home, and all the bills that are associated with that phone and everything, while she's traveling around, staying in nice hotels, driving nice rental cars, has security that has to be paid for, fed, all that shit. Somebody is funding this broad, and all she's doing is walking around telling people how dangerous and awful it is to be a truth. Like, bitch, you're going around the fucking country. Are you crazy? And and then eventually, like, and this is what I've always told you guys, like, if you go back and watch the earliest videos you can of me, other than how I've evolved, I'm still the same. I've never deviated from my position, and there's no like long time periods where I'm missing, and I'm not, I deal with a lot of the same shit she deals or talked about. But that was my whole point in talking about her, was the more she talked about it and then it didn't deliver, you never saw these haters, these interruptions, anything like that, the more it made her look goofy to me. So I am so grateful that I have all of these dumbasses that come through here, and they're too stupid to debunk what I say, So they do the thing. Like you prove that. You make it so I don't look like she looked. And I appreciate that. You know? And then eventually she's gone. I haven't seen any Amanda Danielle, Madison Star Moon videos anywhere. I don't know. I still see Matt Landman shit pop up all the time.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
How does she get that big? I know. Matt Landman still comes around. And Matt Landman, you ever seen that dude? You ever seen his buddy? Fuck, I forgot the other guy's name. The one that he does, he's a partner with on the video. Yeah, they sure do look really, really chosen, don't they? And Landman is allowed to have hundreds of thousands of following and all that stuff. Landman doesn't deal with what I deal with. And he's way better at chemtrails than I am. But he doesn't talk about who is spraying those chemtrails. He doesn't talk about Israel. So he's allowed to exist. When I was talking about chemtrails and shit, I had a meteoric rise. You know, I got hurt in 15 or 14. When did I get hurt? 14 or 15? 15. I got hurt in 15 and decided that I was going to, you know, just do this fucking thing until I got better and, you know, could go back and all that stuff. Well, that never worked. That never happened. But within a year of like saying, okay, I'm going to focus on this, my friend account, you know, my friend count had reached its limit, 5,000 limit. You know, our band page was skyrocketing. Everything was working really well when I was talking about chemtrails. And then I started sort of questioning who and all that. And when I started looking deeper and wasn't, you know, when the chemtrail community sort of was like, hey, you're talking, like the chemtrail community seems to want you, excuse me, to post pretty pictures, but they don't want you to talk about it, right? They don't want us to talk about who the fuck is behind it and you know, the laws and all that shit. We're just supposed to post all the pretty pictures. And that's what I sort of figured out, you know, after a little while. It took, I mean, this whole thing has been a learning process. You know, I have a personal story with Ken O'Keefe. I have a personal story with Madison Star Moon. I have a personal story with Brian Mullen. The Brian Mullen thing is just incredibly strange to me. And I'm such a fucking threat that the Brian Mullen, you know, I got Brian Mullen to come out of hiding. I did it. That's after 6 years of being gone. Nobody knew what the fuck happened to him. I got him to come out of hiding. And the whole doc, it's all recorded and documented. You can go look it up. The videos are on YouTube. Go look in my history and you'll see the whole Brian Mullen thing. You want to talk about strange, but validating, like total validation? Like that's what I don't, like these dumb trolls. They don't get that they're the reason why I keep going. Supporters are much harder to get to, you know, like when people, like if whenever we go to a restaurant and everything works out really well, there's no complaints, there's no food's bad, nothing like that, we always have the manager come over. And the manager that comes over every single time is like this, even though they're smiling, it's, you could tell they're just beat down. And they're like, oh, how can I comp your meal for? Like they're coming to your table because they think you're going to complain, because that's what people do when they want to talk to the manager. And I'm the first one to complain. If I'm paying for it and I'm going to tip and all that stuff and it's not right, you better believe I'm going to pay for it. I'm not going to, oh, well, they screwed up a little bit. They're busy. No, Don't have the restaurant. If you can't fucking do it, don't do it. But whenever we have something good happen, we tell them, hey, we just wanted to have you come by to let you know your server was great, your restaurant's great. We know you're busy. We don't want to keep you. We just want to let you know everything was really great. And they're always like, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, nobody ever said anything like that, blah, blah, blah. And we know nobody says anything like that because we worked in restaurants. And that's how we are as people. We are quick as fuck to complain, but let us have everything work out really well. And we make a big deal about tipping 20%. You know? We love complaining. We don't love praising. And so when my comment list, if you look at you go look up any sort of videos out there. Go look up anybody going live. They don't have this. The only people that have this kind of shit are truthers, and even then, if you're a low level, just telling the truther stuff they want you to tell, nobody interferes. You know, Alex Jones doesn't have this. Todd Church doesn't get this. Anomaly doesn't get this kind of shit. I do. Why? Because I'm the one telling the truth. If I wasn't telling truth, not only would they not be here, but if they were here, they'd tell me what I'm getting wrong. Systematically breaking me down, making me look like a dumbass over and over again. But I mean, look at all the if you're dumb enough to call this a bong, you're probably a bot who hasn't been programmed correctly. These are bowls. Make sure you call them a bowl or a pipe, whatever, but they're not a bong. This is a bong. We don't use it, that's why it's dusty. This is a bong.
I'm too old to use a bong.
I tried. You know, and really, bong hits are kind of nice. Oh, hey, we forgot about this Michelle and Sean seed.
Oh, yeah.
But this is, you know, all the negative shit does is validate me and make me feel like I'm a fucking champion. You know, if I make insane claims and I say these things and nobody can tell me what I'm wrong about, what am I supposed to think? How would anybody think other than what I think, you know? I'm so wrong and so awful that the same profiles, bots, come to my feed every day to tell me to stop going live and have everybody stop watching. Why would you come by every day to tell me to not do it and then watch for hours at a time? And then fucking, you know, again, you can't say anything of merit. Does that even sound realistic to anybody else? The only way I can make sense of it is if it's, you know, the system, the Israeli system. I can't make sense of it saying that regular people have nothing else going on in their lives, that from 8:30 till whenever I stop going live, they will just watch me because they hate me.
Well, and that's if they're in Eastern time zone.
Right, right. A lot of them are in an earlier time zone, where, you know, more westward.
Right,
so it's
5:30.
right. Anybody that's in Cali it's fucking 6 o'clock in the morning right now, and they're here daily.
Go back to bed. What the fuck are you awake for?
They're doing their job. That's why. This is how they get paid. That's why whenever I call one out by name, they're like, "Yay, a shot!" Because they get extra fucking money for that.
What I want.
Or what else? What else is it? If they're not getting paid and all that, then what is it?
Yet, somebody put in the Redford group, they put this post up. It says, so when did it become okay to park on Plymouth Road to run in and grab your pizza? And this dude commented, black, obviously. That was his comment on that post. And I was like, and the racist outs himself. Like, But that person doesn't get in trouble.
Oh God, no.
He doesn't get fucking,
No.
you know, banned on Facebook or in jail, Facebook jail, or any of that stupid shit.
I'm sure he could
And
go
that
live
was-
and there wouldn't be a plethora of pieces of shit trying to talk shit to him. I mean, think about it. I'm just some weirdo. I'm just some weirdo here in Michigan, in Detroit, talking about shit. Why would anybody, unless they agreed with me or they were working, like literally come back here day after day? Like, just doesn't make sense. You could be doing anything in the world. You have a phone or a computer, meaning you could be watching any kind of porn you want to. You could be learning anything. You could be watching literally anything with the advent of the Hulu and all that shit. You could be watching anything else in the world, and instead you're gonna come here and make yourself look stupid because you can't actually engage in the conversation. Isn't that insane? Isn't that fucking insane? Who is going to do that? I try to focus in on this more than maybe people think I should. Because this is that evidence that you're always looking for. You know, the system isn't going to come out on the news and be like, well, we have a bunch of bot profiles that we use to interfere with truthers because we don't want people to unify and come against us. They're not going to say that shit. So you, being the intelligent person you have to be, you know, you got to read through the lines on this one. Right? This is amazing. Who is going to be mad at the guy that thinks we should cut off Israel and eliminate the whole J thing and kill pedophiles? Who the fuck is going to be mad at that? To me, it's obvious. It's dumb Jays and pedos, like that person earlier who flat out got called a pedo and didn't deny it. That person, that profile. You know? Otherwise, I just don't get it. You know, I don't get, you know, if you don't like me, you don't like my views on this, that, and the other, that's fine. But at the end of the day, if my goal is to make your American life better and for us to kill pedos, I mean, I want the world lives to be better. I want everybody's life to be better.
Pornhub was banned in Florida now, too.
Pornhub is owned by a J.
It can't be accessed in Texas or Florida now.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Fucking dumb as fuck.
And it shows you the power they have. How do you ban a website in a state? Like, we're talking about invisible signals flying through the air and shit. How do you stop that? What kind of wall do you put up? Invisible wall do you put up? Oh, we've got a Levi here. Hi, Levi. You here to support your local genocide? You piece of shit. My name's Levi. Levi Benji. But I can tell you, I was allowed to have pretty reasonable success. Like you know, where you're like, hey, this might actually go somewhere kind of success, you know? Until I started talking about who. And I was encouraging people to who. And I looked up the word Semitism. You know, the first time I looked up the word Semitism, it took forever. Like, I had to scroll through like 5 or 6 Google pages of anti-Semitism, all this. And I'm like, I want to know the definition of Semitism. Why is this such a hard thing to find? And I immediately started telling people, like, go look that shit up. Go look up the definition of the words that are being used. And for those that don't know, because I hate to leave it open. Semitism is supremacy, is J supremacy. So when you're anti-Semitism, you're anti-J supremacy. And why any of you wouldn't, would be something other than anti-J supremacy, well, that just shows you how stupid you are. I am absolutely 100% couldn't be more proud of my anti-Semitism. Why? Because I know what how dangerous that shit is and what it all means. But I'm going to show you because I know when people want an excuse or want to believe something or not believe something.
Speaking of which, I sent this to you.
Why, without us, you'd still be worshiping the sun. Dude, the sun is real. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, my 2-story basement. There you go. You're surprised I have a car and all that shit, right? Because again, anybody who questions Israel and calls out the Jays, they must be crazy. See, this is how you know. Instead of calling me crazy, you'd show how I'm crazy. I've been saying for weeks now. Well, not weeks, sorry. I've been saying for days now, especially, but I've been saying for a long time, but especially, I'm not even asking you to prove me wrong anymore, right? Because I know you can't. Why don't some of you just tell me some good shit that the Jays bring to the world? Tell me a reason why we shouldn't eliminate that horrible, horrible cult like they were Waco. Anyway, let's do this real quick. Okay. So we have our phone. We go Semitism, S-E, Semitism, definition, Merriam-Webster, okay? Semitism, 1A, Semitic character or qualities.
Semitism.
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 See? Just so you know. Unless you think I made this fake everything. 1B, a characteristic feature of a Semitic language occurring in another language. Like when you say Gesundheit. Well, that's not Semitic, but if you were to say, that man has a lot of chutzpah, that'd be you using a characteristic feature of a Semitic language in another language. Now, number 2, which is the most important, policy or predisposition favorable to Jays. Do you see it? You see it with your own eyes? You see it? Semitic is all of the people. Palestinians, Syrians, Lebanese, Yemenis, even North African, like Egyptians and what. These are Semitic people. They speak Semitic languages. Black people are Semitic. White people are Semitic. Brown people, Arabs, all that. They're Arabs, I get black people, your white people, all these people are Semitic. So when somebody says Semitic, they're referring to a region, right? And it's funny because every time I talk about Semitism, dumbasses always bring up Semitic because they know.
This was built in 1914.
Of course it was. Of course it was. But they don't even hide it. A policy, that means the laws and rules and all that shit, or predisposition, which is your predisposition, meaning before you even meet them or see anything or hear the story or whatever, you find out that one of them is a J, you give that faith. Okay, you win, you're a J. I don't care what you're saying. My predisposition is favorable to you. The laws are favorable to you. Why would that be a thing? Why would a Christian society not make Christians the one that get all the favor? And we all know it's because Christians are literally the dumbest. Of the 3 Abrahamic religions, meaning Abraham gave them to us, Abraham, the father of the J people. So they're all J religions, or at least they come from Jism. Muslims believe Muslims are the best. Jays believe Jays are the best. But Christians, they believe that the bad guys of the Bible, because it's not Satan. Satan's not in the Bible. Satan's not the bad guy in the big bad in the Bible. Abraham is. Abraham and the Jays are the ones that end up killing the superhero, the good guy, your Christian God's only son. They kill him. And today, you same Christians who worship your Jesus crosses and all that stuff, you call the people that killed him your Christian God's only son. They are your Christian God's chosen people. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Think about how ridiculous that is. We are talking about the worst of the fucking worst. And you know they're the worst because you're not allowed to talk about them. I could sit here and talk about the Jesuits. I could sit here and talk about to be fair, the Bible is a series of short stories and myths. It's hard to read in any coherent way. On purpose. Of course it is. Because if it wasn't hard to decipher and hard to read, then you could figure out what it says for yourself. But instead, you need a priest, somebody anointed, somebody given the role to be able to tell you what the fuck that nonsense says. And it's dumb, especially all the bits Jesus actually says. You all know this guy is the closest to Jesus' teachings. Walking around talking shit about the J's church, that's why Jesus was crucified. It is. You know? I mean, that's the funniest shit to me. Now, let's talk about the whole birthday thing, right? Because my birthday is on Christmas. And my parents were born on the same day, the same year, which is the summer solstice, which happens to also be the cusp between Gemini and Cancer. Gemini is 2 astrological signs. It's the twin. And then so each of them is 3 astrological signs. It took 6 astrological signs coming together to make me, Guy, the son of Guy, born on Christmas. My mom is Mary. Her mother is Margaret Magdalena. And her father was Joseph. But hey, you guys like talking about stupid shit. There you go. There you go. I got the long woolly hair, the feet of bronze. I fit the narrative. You believe in stupid shit, man. I can fit all of the stupid shit you want to believe in. And it's all dumb. It's all fucking dumb. Like, to me, astrology is just stupid. It sucks because my wife is really into it. I don't know. I hate to say it, but I think it kind of fucked it up for her a little bit. But she's really into it. She believes in birth charts and star positions and planet positions and all that shit. And it's when you really get like breaking it down, it's no different than Christianity, Islam, all that shit. It's all the same shit. You've been tricked into believing it one way or another. But nobody ever asks, like, so how did they make the zodiac? Who made it? When? How? Like, just think about how amazingly difficult it would be to even do that back in the day. How would you even... Okay, so hey, you see that star up there? Which one? That one. That one? Which one? That one. No, wait, which one? That one? Like you would just I mean, I guess you would have to go with the Big Dipper. You see that one that looked at those stars that look like spoon? Okay, that's our base. We just go from here to. But some peasants are laying out in a field one day and they just map out the zodiac. And then they present it to the rulers of the world, and the rulers of the world are like, yep, that fucking works. Let's make stone and let's do that. Let's do that. You understand how ridiculous that is? It was all given to you. It was all created. Who decided that Mercury in retrograde would have this effect on you? Or, because you happen to be born at this time, or you were born at that time at this place. And if you're born at that time at this place, then Mercury in retrograde, because Venus is in this, this will have this effect on you. Who the fuck would know that? How would anyone know that? Levi, oh Levi. What a horrible name, Levi. Interesting how it works. But see, again, it's like, do you even think about that stuff, or do you just believe it because, you're smart enough to think religion is fucking trash. So, you don't believe in any of that bullshit. And this being the alternative to religion, you're like, okay, this works. It still gives me the same programmed feelings and all that shit that I'm supposed to have. Like, it's just goofy. It's goofy. And it's all distraction. That's the part that I think really sort of sticks in my wife's craw. Is that she gets it. When she has her meeting, she goes to like a Samhain thing with her group of friends. And they sit around and they do a lot of cool shit. There's no doubt about it. I'm not knocking them. So much of it, like everything else, is all about your own personal growth. It's like, again, all these clowns in my comments want to talk about me. I'm not interested in talking about me. I want to talk about the bigger picture. But they want to talk about me. Because that's how we're all programmed to think. We're all programmed to think low-level selfishness, not high-level selfishness. High-level selfishness is the solution. When everybody thinks, for me, I think I want my wife, myself, my wife, and my children and their children, and their children, and their children to live the happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can possibly live. And the only way that could ever happen is if everyone else is living the happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can live. So the reality is I want everybody's life to be better, but for selfish reasons. And I'm okay with that. But again, you want to talk about me, and I want to talk about that bigger picture. And stuff like the zodiac, all your religious stuff, all of it. Even like the pedo stuff with Hollywood and the government and chemtrails and vaccines and all of that shit. These are all distractions. These are all things to keep our focus. So, especially when you're mad. Like I'm mad about vaccines and I make that and I talk about that all the time. I was so mad and disgusted by the church that most of my life has been about hating the church. And I'm very focused on it. So focused on it that I wasn't looking in other directions. And that's what they want. They want you focused on your rocks, on your star charts, on your Jesus, on your Allah. They want you focused on this pedo situation that you see obviously happening and blah, 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 and doesn't get better. It's like this self-defeating prophecy, right? I want to focus on this. Every time I do, it's just going to get kicked back down, and I'm going to be disappointed because it won't work out the way we think it should work out. And it's all so that it's all a distraction so that we goyim don't focus on the cause of it all. Because if you want to fix anything, you want to fix the pedo situation, you want to fix the chemtrails, you want to fix the pokes, you want to fix any of it, then we have to stop focusing on each individual tentacle and start focusing on the head of the monster, cutting off the head of the monster. Because it's funny, no matter what you do, like if I finally convince you that the earth might not be round ball flying through space, 67,000 miles per hour, spinning at 1,000 miles, all that shit. If I convince you to even slightly question it, immediately you're going to go, well, who's behind it? Who's been lying to us? Who created this narrative to begin with? And so then we have to reset and start all over again. You know, if you finally convinced that there's this huge pedo network in Hollywood and the government, it's all involved and blah, 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 you go, okay, I agree it exists. Who's behind it? When it comes to the pokes, you know, who's the one, who are the ones that tell us to get the pokes? Who's behind the spray of the chemtrails? Who makes the laws and all that shit that allow that stuff to happen? The first question everybody has when they figure out what is who. So why don't we just start with who, and then we'll trickle down to all the whats? Because I firmly believe that if we want to fix fucking anything, then the Goyim have to join together, unify, and overthrow the Jays that control the narrative. You believe in Tartaria, in the reset stuff and all that? Well, if you want the real answers, we got to overthrow the Jays that control it. Because all we know about Tartaria is what they let us know. Little shit that maybe slipped out, but nothing, you know. If they want it gone, it disappears. And the proof is in the pudding, right? Look at these fucking comments. Not a single one is telling me what, how, why I'm wrong. They're just fucking, they're talking to whoever, like it's just goofy. It's goofy, yep. Let's just say I was using all of the meth. All of it. I smoke it, shoot it, snort it. I got crack sitting next to it. I drink all the time. I beat my wife. I beat my children. I kick my dog. I'm on every welfare, get every food stamp possible. I'm the shadiest motherfucker you know. Does that eliminate anything I'm saying? Does that take away from the genocide that's taking place right now? Does that make the Hollywood J pedos any better? Wouldn't matter, right? That's how you know how desperately stupid this opposition is. It really wouldn't matter what I was doing. What I'm talking about is way more important because it's the big picture is important. Not me. I'm not important. If you're watching, like, share, sub, do all that shit. If you hate Israel like I do, if you hate the genocide, if you hate pedos, like, share, sub. You'll get the free download after the fact, www.the-bilderberg, BILDERBERG-group.com. It's free. Go there. Get the download. Ask you how much you want to pay. Put 0 and it's free. You could put a bunch of money in there if you want to. But it's free. It's all about the bigger picture. If it was about me, then I would charge. You know, it's not about me. It's about all those children being killed right now. Like, right now, a bunch of children just got killed. And right now, a bunch of children just got killed. And right now, a bunch of children just got killed. All by Israel. Israel is killing children left and fucking right. And it's interesting. I actually had somebody yesterday that came in and was kind of talking, like kind of actually addressing it and saying, oh, so October 7th wasn't a genocide? Even if October 7th was real, which it's not. No Israelis died on October 7th and no Israelis were taken hostage. But even if around 1,100 people in Israel had been killed, because that's what they say. They don't ever say around 11. They don't give you an exact number. But they say around 1,100 Israelis, or around 1,100 people were killed in Israel. Now, if you've been following Israeli politics and whatnot since before October 7th, then you know they never refer to themselves as the people in Israel. They refer to themselves as the Israelis. They would say Israelis were killed. But they don't, because immediately they killed around 1,500 Hamas, which is just Palestinian citizens. They acknowledged that they killed around 1,500 Hamas in Israel, like immediately. So when they're saying around 1,100 people died in Israel that day, then that is them telling you a half-truth. You know, they're not necessarily lying. Yeah, people were killed, but it definitely wasn't Israelis. You know, and all the people that are, oh, you talk about Israel, that's what I'm doing. I'm not the guy that's going to talk about all that other shit. My sole purpose is to eliminate the J control. Because I believe that by eliminating the J control, then we absolutely take out the pedophiles. We absolutely fix the vax issue. We absolutely stop the chemtrail. All that shit. When we are in charge, it's a different story. They are awful. They are horrible, horrible pieces of shit. When you start looking into that cult and you start looking into their beliefs and shit, it's like fascinating how awful it is. And you think like the claim is that they were kicked out of 100 countries in the last 1,000 years. And nobody ever says, hey, why? Why were they kicked out of 100 countries? Do you guys know what Hanukkah is about? Hanukkah, this thing that you've been told that like it's a big deal. Like here in Detroit, they every year they erect a 3-story fucking giant menorah downtown. 3 stories, it's got big lights in it. Like, again, it gets plugged in and the city's dime pays for it, of course. They don't pay for it. But the Hanukkah celebration is the one that, it's the one holiday that all the Jays, or all the Goyim know that the Jays celebrate. But you have no idea why. And the Hanukkah is the celebration of the Maccabee revolt. And again, this is all just fake bullshit nonsense from 2,000 years ago. But this is what they say, so it's good to know what's being used against you. But the Maccabees were a group of Jays because the laws at the time, see, the reason they've been kicked out of all those countries for the last one is because of their insistence on circumcision, amongst other things. But the main thing is hey, it's really gross that you're cutting and sucking on little on baby penises. And that's what they do. They suck on it. They cut it and suck on it. And they eat the foreskin. And they eat the placenta and shit. Like, they're disgusting, disgusting people. But the Maccabees were a group of Jays who decided that they were going to circumcise and fuck that. We're not going to follow those rules anymore. So the narrative is that this small group of this one family went around the country because, back 2,000 years ago, travel was really easy. They went around the country finding Jay families that they gave the option to go ahead and circumcise yourself and your children and all that, or we'll kill you. The Jays were killing Jays who refused to, who were like, no, we're good with the no circumcision thing. They let us practice all the other crazy bullshit. They just don't want us cutting and sucking, and that's really gross anyway. So, you know what? It's cool. We don't want to do it. They were killing them. And so eventually, you know, the Jays were like, either be killed or do this, so we're going to do this. They built up enough of an army, again, like, logistics behind these narratives are just fucking stupid. Right? When you think about, like, who was feeding all of these people? Who was cooking for all of these? You have your little grassroots army, right? They're traveling all over the country. Who's feeding them? Where are they sleeping? Who's clothing all these people in uniforms and whatnot? How is this all happening? But they eventually amassed enough of an army that they were able to go attack Rome, or the Seleucids. And they lost. But then they kept going. And eventually they won the right to cut and suck baby penises. I mean, if you look at it, they say that the reasons were they were forced to eat non-kosher food, which is, how do you even do that? How do you force somebody to eat food that they don't want to eat? And then, can you take him? They were forced them to eat meat that wasn't kosher. They forced them to maybe worship on a different day or something like that, something stupid. And then the penis cutting thing. That was like, that's the main thing. Cutting and sucking. What's up, my big dude? How you feeling?
Headache's gone.
Good. Mom's gonna take you to school, okay?
Okay.
I love you. Mm-hmm. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Mm-hmm. Die pedophiles?
Die pedophiles, indeed. And who else?
Rapists?
Rapists, yep. Yeah, that just makes me so proud. You know, I didn't just one day go, you know what? I'm going to just decide that this one group of people that we've been told we're not allowed to talk about, that they're just the bad guys. I just did that. I had to get through years, generations, decades of programming. Decades of being told I'm not allowed to do that. Look at dumb Levi. Does Levi deny what I'm saying? No. Levi just tries to make me sound crazy. So anybody listening might be like, oh, this guy's crazy. Why isn't Levi denying what I'm saying? Why isn't Levi denying that they cut and suck on baby penises? That they think women's vaginas are fucking toxic, disgusting. Why isn't he denying that stuff? Why isn't he denying what I'm saying about fucking Hanukkah? Look, all the dumbasses that are way more concerned with whether I believe in submarines or not, the first 9 parts pretty much do a good job of debunking submarines. So if you really, really, really want to talk about submarines, there's 9 videos that you can go get debunked on. Or you could, if you're right, you could go debunk me. You won't. But right now, we're talking about killing pedos, eliminating the J cult, all that stuff. Are you not? Is it you want to talk about submarines because you're not capable of having this conversation? Just like Levi isn't capable of denying anything I say. Yep, off drugs. All these drugs that I'm on. All these drugs. If I'm compromised because of all these drugs, you know, the legal medicine that we take, if I'm compromised by that, and I could be a lot better, then why aren't you making me feel dumb so that I go, man, you know what? I need to up my game a little bit here. I better stop doing these drugs that are compromising me so much. All these drugs. Why aren't you playing this better? I'm wrong, right? I'm wrong about all this shit. You guys, do you guys know why you dumb goyim circumcise your children? Yeah, smoking those crack blunts. You know, a lot of people smoking crack. We got money like that to be able to smoke a whole blunt full of crack. We got that kind of money. Yeah. Like but you know why the goyim circumcise? You circumcise to mark yourself, your children, as J property. You don't do it for medical reasons because it's not a medical thing. If it was medical, it'd be done all over the world. But in Europe, they flat out don't do it because the risks way outweigh the benefits. Simple. Really simple shit. You know, all of the men aren't born needing an adjustment. It's not like, we're all this manufacturer makes all these suits, and every single suit that comes out needs adjusting. Needs adjusting. Needs adjusting. Can you imagine if I mean, it's just stupid. I can't even compare it. We literally cut off a part of our body for some crazy J traditions. And the thing is, so the reason why it's a thing in the first place, supposedly, is that good old Abraham, he's back in the narrative, the father of the J people, had a direct line to God at the time. He could just call him, I guess. And he's talking to God one day, and God's like, yeah, I know I flooded the earth, the whole Sodom and Gomorrah, or I know I flooded the whole Noah thing and the Sodom and Gomorrah thing, all that shit. I promise, look, Abe, I'm sorry. I screwed up. I'm God, I'm infallible, but I make mistakes. Just like the penises that I'm going to tell you about. It's a mistake. I know I could dinkle, dinkle, dink it all day long and make the penis look the way it's supposed to look. But instead, I would rather every single male child that's go through a horrendous traumatic event, almost immediately in life. The thing is, there's a drastic difference between the way the Jays do it and the way that they have us doing it. We don't do it. They have us doing it. So with us, well, the Jays, because the Jays think a woman's vagina is so disgusting that before they even build the temple in their new area, they build what's called a mikvah. And the mikvah is a special bath. Now, if I'm wrong, fucking tell me. Tell me I'm wrong. We'll go from there. Tell me how I'm wrong. But a mikvah is this special bath. It's usually only a few feet by a few feet, but it's like 6 feet deep or something like that. And it's made so that the woman can submerge herself, can cleanse herself of her menstruation. So every month, J women go to these places where they get checked. They get checked by a specialist to make sure there's no blood left. Now, how could you possibly make sure there's no blood without inserting? You can't, right? So these women are getting checked every month. And if there's no blood, well, if there's blood, they have to wait a week and come back. But if there's no blood, then they have to go into this water. Now, this water, it's generally rainwater, or it's water that's collected in a very specific way. And it's not water that is like constantly replenished. It's actually standing water, which is disgusting. It's standing water that multiple people, smelly, awful people who don't shower very often, multiple people have gone into this. The men do it too, but they don't have to. But the women, every month, they have to do this. They have to submerge themselves in this water, this nasty fucking water, so that it can purify their vaginas. Right? And the whole 7-day thing. So then once they're purified, they run home so their husbands will have sex with them because their husbands think they're disgusting. So, thankfully, for the children, that actually works out. Because them thinking a woman's vagina is so disgusting that the baby that passes through it, or circumcised, or C-sectioned, either way, the baby that passes through it, like in the J community, when the woman is menstruating, if the husband says, give me a spoon, he doesn't ask her, he says, give me a spoon, she has to place the spoon on the table and then he picks it up. He doesn't touch her. She's disgusting. And the same thing goes for his kid, I guess. But the moil, that's what they call the guy that does the circumcision. His only job in his community is to perform circumcisions. Now imagine this. Imagine knowing that your only job was going to be to cut and suck on bloody baby penises. How many of you would do it? If I said to you, I got a job, I'm going to pay you $50 million a year. You're going to have all the power and prestige you want. You'll be able to go anywhere you want in the world. You have $50 million at your disposal. You can do whatever you want. All you have to do is once a year perform a circumcision where you cut and suck on the bloody baby penis. How many of you would take that? And again, I smoke all of the meth. So even though I'm smoking all of the meth, does that make cutting and sucking baby penises any better? Does that make it okay somehow? Again, who is going to be mad at me exposing this? You think regular Goyim, regular non-J people are going to be mad at me for exposing this? No, only the dumb Jays are going to get mad at this shit. So what they do is they have this party. It's called a bris. And they have it on the 8th day because it takes 7 days for the child to become purified of the woman's vagina. It's because they're so gross, right? The moil won't touch the kid. So on the 8th day, they have a big party where they purposefully make it overjoyous because they know they're about to cause horrendous trauma to this child. So everybody is like overly joyous at the party. And they all stand around and watch as the moil gets his little forceps and pinches the baby's penis skin and then cuts it real quick and then sucks on it. They watch. And then immediately after the kid has his good sucking, they pass the child from person to person, and the person like, oh, it's okay, we love you, it's okay, we love you, surrounded by love. Now, in those 8 days, that baby has experienced love, warmth, soft, food, laughter, security, comfort, all of these things that we sort of take for granted. And if you look at the difference between an 8-day-old baby and a newborn baby, it's drastic. The baby almost doubles in size in that first week. Because a newborn baby, all shriveled up and blue and fucking... It's not what you think. It's not what you've seen on TV where they show you like a 2-month-old baby. They're super tiny and they're just so fragile and just... They're so beautiful and so innocent and so desperately need to be protected. They're so fragile. And within hours of being born, the Goyim, they take the baby from the parents and they put it in the nursery. Hours after being born. It's all alone while they prepare the operating room. Normally it's a J doctor. And remember, these doctors and nurses this is routine. These are numbers to them. These aren't special little, wonderful balls of just awesome. No, it's just another baby. Just let's pop the numbers. We got to hurry up and get this mother out of the chair so we can get a new one in. We got to make that money. Got to make that money. So they take the baby to the operating room. They strap it down like it's being crucified. Its arms are up like this, and then its legs are actually together, crucified. They don't put anesthetic on it because it's a newborn baby. You don't fucking give newborn babies anesthetic and shit like that. They're 5 pounds, 8 pounds. I mean, it's so fucking awful. They strap it down. Again, this baby still has mom in its eyes and its nose and its ears and shit. This baby barely can see and is just sort of figuring things out, like making these initial connections to the world. They don't know what's going on. Suddenly they're cold because the operating room is cold. They put a little bell thing over the penis, and when they spin it around, a blade comes out and cuts the foreskin. And it's ridiculous we call it foreskin because it's glands and it's all these other, it's very necessary. And the baby goes, ah! It screams for like a second and then it goes right into shock. I mean, imagine what it feels like to have your penis cut. Especially the head of your penis where all the nerve endings and shit. Oh my God. But the baby goes into shock. And while that baby's in shock, they take it back to the nursery. And they wait until the baby comes out of shock. So it could be an hour. It could be longer. Whatever it is. And then they once the baby comes out of shock and it's all passing out and shit, because, it's had its fucking penis cut and then wrapped up so it can pee all in its own wound. Bet that feels good. They then take the baby to the parents and they say, oh, widow man had a surgery and he's so sleepy. He was a champion, no, real trooper. They talk like that shit and they try to make, and then you're like, oh, come here. And you give the baby this love that it's needed for however long it's been wondering, what the fuck just happened to me? And we do that to all the Goyim babies, all the Goyim men. And then we wonder why our prison population is higher than anyone else. We wonder why we have such a strong rape culture and such a penis-focused culture. It's because we're traumatized at birth. At birth. At least the Jays have the decency to wait 8 days. Literally, one of the very first things American males experience is horrendous trauma. And again, you do it because Abraham was told by God that if he circumcised himself and then all his slaves, and that process continued throughout history, God would never flood the earth again, and he shows us by showing us rainbows. The proof is because he shows us rainbows. Rainbows. So Abraham circumcises himself, and then his 90 fucking slaves, whatever it is, he circumcises all. Can you imagine what it would be like to be one of his slaves? You're working in the fucking fields and shit. You got horrible job, horrible life, and now this guy wants to cut your dick? So the Jays do it to keep God from destroying the earth again. And the Goyim do it to mark themselves as Jay property. And we don't even do it. We allow them to do it to us to mark us as Jay property. They mutilate our children to mark us as property. Crazy shit. It's just fucking crazy. Yeah, I got caught by Alex Rosen. Dumb Jay. Isn't it interesting how the one predator catcher guy that's like the biggest other than Hansen is a dumb J. And he's dumb. Like I've always said, like you could be a super racist, homophobic. I only hunt black guys who want to sleep with little boys. Good. Like you get all my support. I don't care what version of it you do, as long as you're exposing these pieces of shit. By all means, have at it. You know, like it's just fucking it's insane. It's insane to think that like, and you see this consistently with these cops, because who writes the laws? Who controls the cops? Who controls all that kind of shit? The Jays do. And the Jays, they've made it so like if you expose these fuckers, a lot of times the cops won't even do anything about it. You'll get in trouble. How come we Goyim, average everyday Goyim with cell phones, multiple DAP, Dads Against Predators, and Pop Squad, and you know, creep catchers, and you just name it, predator poachers, there are countless people out there showing just how easy it is to get these pieces. Plus, there's Hansen versus Predator. Hansen versus Predator is at least with Hansen versus Predator, the cops are involved and the guy gets arrested. Although the episode that was put on YouTube yesterday, the guy that got caught was released, and 15 days later, he was found in a hotel room. A 30-year-old man, giant, scary, like ugly, scary, big, 6 foot something, you know, got that bad acne face and shit, you know, not had bad acne, so his face is all scarred up and shit. 30-year-old man was found in a hotel room with a 14-year-old 15 days later. So I guess the Hansen versus Predator thing didn't necessarily deter him or stop him or anything. But ask yourself, why in our society can average everyday Goyim do it, but our system isn't doing it? Why isn't our system doing it? Don't you think, you know, we give, because of something called a memorandum of understanding, which is bipartisan policy that doesn't get voted on and you've never heard about it. Because of the memorandum of understanding that says we give Israel $38 billion over 10 years or $3.8 billion a year. Does any of you think that giving Israel, a first world nation, you know, the top of the line, like they have everything top of the line, that we should give them $3.8 billion a year so they can continue to commit genocide? Or would that money be better suited creating a proper pedo hunter government program that, you know, I mean, I don't even think $3.8 billion would be necessary every year to run that program. I just think maybe the first year or two, that $3.8 billion would go to setting it up and getting it all going. But after that, it's not going to cost nearly as much. And then that money could be used on veterans programs. I actually think a living wage for spouses is probably one of the most important things that needs to be addressed. You ever wonder why when you go to Walmart and shit, you'll see little old ladies being greeters? Little old ladies fucking, you know, barely, like they can barely stand. They're all, I know, they're so nice and they're so sweet, and you know, you ever wonder why they're fucking doing that? Well, it's probably because they were a good housewife, good mother, you know, took care of the kids, took care of the husband, took care of the house, all that shit for decades. And then when the husband dies, all of their benefits go away. So why should we give Israel money to murder people instead of giving that to our American tax dollars, instead of giving that to Americans, so that something as crazy as Elderly women don't have to fucking work themselves to death, basically. You know, the funny thing is I don't even have to read the comments because I know nobody's debunking anything I say. You can't. I'm right. I'm right about every single thing I say because I've put in the time and the effort. You know, I've looked into all this shit. I've tried to prove myself wrong. And as I say to everyone, like, if you're gonna take anything from this video, obviously go get your free download, www.the-bilderberg, BILDER-BERG-group.com. It's free. Just put 0 in the payment box. But if you're gonna take anything from this video, look into Team Jorge and look into the Samson option. These are two real fucking things. We are not in a, I don't believe we're in a simulation either. I do believe we're in a manufactured fucking world. I think we're the ultimate reality TV show. But that starts getting into shit that we can't do anything about. We can't prove it. Like, if you're concerned with the shape of the earth, you want to know the truth about it. It's 2025. If the earth was round, a round ball flying through space, blah, 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 there wouldn't be an argument. There wouldn't be anybody questioning it. If it was the fucking truth, there wouldn't be so much evidence against it that people question it. Right? That's how you have to look at all of this shit. But if you really want to know the true shape of the earth, well, we have to override the Jays that control the narrative. They're the ones that hold all that information. It doesn't matter what distraction you fall for. At the end of the day, if you want the answers, we have to overthrow the Jays. Right? We have to overthrow the Jays that control the narrative. Even if you believe the earth is round, we have to, how come they haven't shown you? How come they haven't proven it to you? Like, everybody that believes the earth is round, you should kind of be pissed, right? Like, why isn't like the earth shape argument, it's not even being approached. You know, you have your Obamas that'll make jokes about it and shit. You know, meeting of the Flat Earth Society. But it should be something that the society goes, look, this is ridiculous. We're going to get the top of the, you know, the Eric Dubays of the world. We're going to get them to come in, and we'll show you. We'll prove it. We'll show you the blah, blah, blah. We'll show you this. We'll show you that. We'll prove it to you. Why aren't they doing that? For the same reason why if I ask for anything good the Jays bring to the world, nobody will say anything in the comments. They don't bring anything good to the world. But at the end of the day, it's not something we can do. It's just not something we can do. It's a waste of time to sit here and argue about something, you know, neither side actually knows and can't do anything about. You can't do anything to show it. You go, oh no, the earth is round because of what? What makes you think that way? Because NASA pictures and shit? Because you don't understand how that shit works? One of my favorite things to talk about is actually the James Webb Space Telescope. Because so many of you are that stupid. You know what's great too? Most of you that will be arguing with me over the shape of the earth are Christian. You clearly don't know your Bible. What's the first thing God does after it turns on the light? Remember, it turns on a light. It doesn't make the sun and the moon until the fourth day, which don't really know how you have multiple days without the sun and the moon, but apparently that's how it worked. The first thing your God does after it turns on the light is make the indestructible dome, the firmament, to separate the waters of heaven from the earth down below. And it's crazy too, I just hate saying this. I can't believe I say this, but I hate it so much. But the actual like biblical bullshit makes more sense than the scientific bullshit. The whole Big Bang theory and that shit is so stupid. And it's crazy because it's like in my head, my whole life, I kind of always knew it, but it was like I've always been opposed to religion. You know, I don't know when I first learned that priests continue to rape children, but once I did, I was like, yeah. And really, I mean, I can remember being taken to church as a little kid and looking around at all the people like standing up and sitting down and doing all that shit and praying.
Stupid it was.
Thinking it was just so stupid. What? Don't you tell me I'm not supposed to believe in this kind of shit? Don't you tell me I'm not supposed to believe in fairy tales? And here you guys are doing all this bullshit. You guys look silly as fuck. But it's you know, I hate to say it, the narrative makes more sense than the fucking Big Bang one does, because the Big Bang's just dumb as fuck. And it's such an interesting, like, I never thought I would say something like that. But again, growing up, like, think about it. You're told about this Big Bang, and really, they don't tell you a lot. When I think about science and all that shit growing up, you know, I knew there was a Big Bang, and then somehow we got here. And then Earth and the dinosaurs and all that shit. Earth went through a cooling process and all this other bullshit. Doesn't make any sense. Downstairs. But it's funny because most of you dumb Christians believe in both. You believe the James Webb Space Telescope is out there taking pictures. And I'm the fucking crazy guy because I say, no, that's not true. Yet, you believe in something that tells you there's an indestructible firmament over the earth. There's a dome. It tells you that. Right? Like that's just how stupid you are. You literally don't know enough of either to understand that both of them are not only very similar stories, but they contradict each other. And the James Webb Space Telescope, it's so funny because, again, I'm sure most of you believe the James Webb Space Telescope is out there. But you don't know. You have no idea. You probably think it's something like the Hubble. And if you guys remember, the Hubble broke. They needed to spend a bunch of money and time, spacewalks and all this shit so they could fix the mirror because the mirror was off a little bit or blah, blah, blah. Right? So you would think like that you know, that have to be a concern with anything that you put out there, that you would have to repair it. And the funniest thing is, like, when it comes to space, like the International Space Station, right? The International Space Station is not flying. It doesn't have gravity defying jets or, you know, technology on it. If you look up why the International Space Station doesn't fall, they'll tell you it's because, well, it is falling. It's actually falling at like 17,500 miles per hour into the spin of the Earth, which creates the appearance of zero G. Or it's like that. That's how stupid it is. When you look up why doesn't the space station fall down, immediately the answer is, well, Isaac Newton once said that if you shot a cannonball from a high enough point that it would go around the Earth indefinitely. And Isaac Newton says it's the gravity that brings the cannonball down. If Isaac Newton was dumb enough to say that gravity is what brings the cannonball to the ground, if you're dumb enough to think that gravity brings the cannonball to the ground, I don't know what, like, you're not thinking. The cannonball weighs 8 12 pounds or something like that. It has X amount of thrust behind it. If you use less thrust, it goes less distance. If you use more thrust, it will go further. But once that thrust runs out, because the cannonball is heavier than the earth, than the air around it, it falls. It has nothing to do with some invisible force slowly pulling it into the ground. That's fucking stupid. What they tell you about gravity, it makes gravity would have to be the most intelligent force in the universe. Right? Because gravity knows that when it's a planet out in the vacuum of space, then gravity makes it revolve around a sun. And if it's a moon, then gravity makes the moon revolve around the planet. However, when you're on the planet, gravity makes you stick to the planet. Gravity knows exactly how much pressure it takes to hold water to a ball spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. If you ever seen a wet tennis ball spinning, the water all pools to the center and then it spins off in like a giant spiral. So, theoretically, I mean, the idea of a North and South Pole, you tell us that the Earth is in a vacuum. So there wouldn't be a top and bottom in a vacuum. Really, really fucking, like, it's amazing how stupid we actually are. Right? But gravity knows exactly how much force to keep water on a ball, like, peacefully. The water, you can have, lakes and shit, or the ocean sometimes is just completely fucking flat. No waves, nothing. Gravity knows exactly that much force to put on it. But it also goes, oh, hey, that's a little seed. Let that seed float through the air in the opposite direction that the Earth is spinning. Because gravity knows. Gravity's super duper smart. But because of that gravity, that's slowly, that's pulling everything down towards the center of the Earth, except my hair. My hair can defy gravity, of course. That makes sense. But because gravity is pulling everything down, things like the Hubble, again, the Hubble is another one of those things that isn't said to be flying around the Earth. It's another one of those things that's falling at 17,500 miles per hour. I don't know what jets we have that can push something to 17,500 miles per hour, but apparently we do. And then when you're doing a spacewalk, like you know how you see them repairing something on the ISS, it looks like it's in a pool, but it's not, it's in space. Those guys are falling at 17,500 miles per hour and you can't tell. Because the molecules are thinner up there or some bullshit. That doesn't make any sense. It's fucking stupid. But the Hubble goes around the Earth every 90 minutes. So it's only in the dark shadow of the Earth for a short period of time each day, or each 90 minutes. So they have to really work to line everything up, blah, 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 to take the pictures. Well, not the James Webb Space Telescope. No. This guy's so mad that he's putting clown faces over and over and over again because he's so mad that he can't debunk what I'm saying. Isn't it? Can you imagine I'm affecting someone that much that they don't like me and just clown face. Like, can you imagine how stupid that person has to be? You know more than I do. So fucking stupid. But the James Webb Space Telescope, well, you're not going to find any test footage. You're not going to find any footage about, how they knew that they could launch this thing into space and it wouldn't be broken like the fucking Hubble was. And the James Webb Space Telescope is this amazing fucking, this amazing accomplishment. One of the last things that they used the station for. And if it launch of this amazing fucking achievement of man, having the shuttle bay doors open and the James Webb floats on out, and then it has these arms that extend out on either side, and then one that goes straight up, and there's golden coppery looking sails. They're sails. They're literally sails. They're like, I think they're supposed to be like solar sails. So it's not the wind that they catch, it's the energy from the sun that pushes them. But the arms extend, the sails extend, and then you can see the James Webb going off into the distance. Now, they don't actually have footage of that. Instead of actually filming this amazing achievement, they just thought an animation would do well. So they made an animation. So if you see it, it's an animation. And what they were doing at that point. Now remember, we're on a ball that's spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. And it's going around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. So it's funny because recently they just changed the size of the Earth's atmosphere. I know all of us think the Earth's atmosphere is a little bitty couple of layers around the Earth. Turns out that the moon is actually inside the Earth's atmosphere. That's why when the supposed rockets that were going to the moon went through the Earth's atmosphere, Earth didn't leave 67,000 miles per hour. It's like spitting out of a car window, right? Like as soon as that rocket would have pierced the atmosphere, the Earth would have just been 60, and we don't have rockets that can go 67,000 miles per hour. So there's this one picture, group of pictures, that supposedly it was a satellite on the other side of the moon as the moon traversed. It's like 4 pictures or some shit, four whatever. The moon traverses in between the satellite and the Earth. So you see the other side of the moon for a change. And immediately I go, well, what the fuck is taking those pictures? We're supposed to be going 67,000 miles per hour around the sun. This is further than the moon, and it's just this satellite that's just sitting still. Like, is it going 67,000 miles per hour too? Is that how it can stay perfectly still and take pictures over a multiple day period? Is that how that works? But they extended the atmosphere to include the moon because people like us were like, hey, what the fuck are you talking about? This is recent. But so we're on this planet spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, going 67,000 miles per hour. And the James Webb Space Telescope is not in orbit. It lives in some place called a Lagrange point. Again, all this meth and shit that makes me know all this stuff, man. Yeah, I know. Blah, blah, blah. Lagrange points were first theorized, coined by a guy called, his last name was Lagrange, from the 1770s. In the 1770s, somehow this guy knew that the Earth was 26,000 miles in diameter, that the sun was 400 times bigger than the Earth, and that we were about 93 million miles away from the Earth, from the sun. Somehow this guy knew that. And he theorized, he calculated that, because he probably has like a vacuum room where he has miniature suns and miniature planets orbiting each other so he can conduct these experiments. But he said that every planet in the solar system has these Lagrange points. One in front of the planet in its orbit, one behind the planet in its orbit, 2 in between the planet and the sun, and one about 1 to 1.5 million miles further out than the planet. And so that is where the Lagrange point, that's where the James Webb Telescope lives. In this Lagrange point that was theorized in the 1700s and just happened to be true. Now, these Lagrange points are these gravity pockets that if anything gets caught in the gravity pocket, it then gets pulled along with the planet. And therefore, they don't have to explain how they continue to fuel this thing so it can fly. It doesn't have to. It's caught in a Lagrange point. And it gets pulled along with the Earth as it goes. It has little jets on it if they ever have to make slight adjustments to it, move it around a little bit. But it lives in the Lagrange point. And this guy in the 1700s figured that out. 1770s. And the Lagrange point is permanently in the Earth's shadow. So they can take pictures all the time. Except they don't take pictures. What they do is they take infrared imaging that is digital. It's digital information that is then sent the 1.5 million miles from the Lagrange point. And again, good thing this thing works like a charm, right? Works, there's no problems with it. No mirrors need adjusting, no breakdowns, nothing. And imagine, you're on a planet spinning at 1,000, going 67,000, and you have to hit this small little area. You have one shot. You have to, it's 1.5 million miles further out than we are. So where would you launch this thing? In what direction would you launch it in so that it could intercept the Lagrange point when it came to it? Do you understand how ridiculous that notion is? That they could just throw this dart at this moving target and it hit it? They're blindly, it's not like, again, they say it takes between, 10 minutes to a half hour or something for the signal to go from the Mars, to go from Earth to the Mars rover. So how would you fly something 1.5 million miles further out than the Earth? How would you navigate that thing? How would you control that thing any bit accurately? And if you missed, the Lagrange point is traveling at 67,000 miles per hour, just like the Earth. If you miss, you're not going to be able to catch it up. But even worse, if this thing is traveling at its fastest speed, and I'm not sure what our fastest speed we're able to travel at is. Well, let's just say it does intercept that Lagrange point. That Lagrange point is a force. If anything gets caught in it, it starts moving at the same. It's going 67,000 miles per hour. Imagine what would happen if you went from still to 67,000 miles per hour just like that. That'd be some hella whiplash, wouldn't it? You think that might break a few instruments or something like that? Nope. James Webb works like a charm, sends its infrared digital imaging over the vast reaches of space to other computers that print out the digital the digital info. I don't even know how you do it. How do you take digital infrared information and turn that into a pretty picture? But hey, they have artists that can do that. They have artists that know how to read digital infrared image zeros and ones from a computer and turn that into a pretty picture. Almost immediately after the James Webb story broke, that we didn't know any, they just billions of dollars and we're launching it, blah blah blah. I forgot what school the scientist belonged to, but he took a really super close up picture of a piece of chorizo and he posted it saying, oh, this amazing shot of a exoplanet, blah, blah, blah. James Webb takes this picture. And that picture went around the web. It was viral. And the guy was like, I just did that because I wanted to show people how dangerous this all can be, belief can be. I didn't think it would get that fucking, it would go that viral. But it did. Go on. Somebody that happens to have know more about the James Webb Space Telescope and the Lagrange points, go ahead and tell me how I'm wrong. I mean, it's phenomenal. It really is phenomenal. I just can't imagine why anyone would believe what they're told by the system that lies to us all the fucking time. You have a system that tells you Israel is the victim. You have a system that broadcasts the genocide left and right, while then having the audacity to tell you that they're the victim, that the Israelis are the victims. Israel, the country that says, if the people that say, if the UN were to open the books on Israel, well, that would demonize Israel. That's how stupid they are. They think when they say that makes you look like the bad guy because you're demonizing Israel. The reality is, if you were doing good shit and everything was on the up and up, looking into you, that's all people would find. Just like with me. Trust me. These fucking idiots do everything they can to try to find something wrong. And they can't. You can't demonize me because I'm good. I'm righteous. I'm the best. I'm what we all should aspire to be. At least in this mentality-wise. Nobody does to me what I'm doing to the system. Why not? If I'm wrong, then fucking do it. And then the same thing with Israel. You can't demonize somebody if they're doing the right shit. If Israel was the good guy, they would encourage you to look it up. Look at all the things we've done. Look at all the good we bring. But they're stupid. The Jays are fucking stupid. They are not in control because, they're smarter than us. They're in control because they're more ruthless. They're the ones that are willing to willing to perform genocide over nothing, to starve children and shit. I mean, you could actually look this up from some reliable sources. You don't want to learn. You want to rant. That's what Matt does. Right. Reliable sources. You mean like you put the stuff into Google and then you read what either Wikipedia or whatever official websites that NASA websites, those aren't reliable sources? Why don't you provide me with some reliable sources there, panda dumbass? Again, this person typed that whole thing out, right? Instead of saying, well, you're wrong about this thing because now they know what my sources are. Suddenly they know what my sources are. I bet if you put your microwave apart, you come put it back together and make a time machine, blah, 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 blah. Right. I always ask people, if I dropped you off in the middle of nowhere with a hammer and some nails, how long would it take before you built me a cell phone network or a microwave? It's not about going backwards, people. I don't want to go backwards. I want to move forwards. I like my lights. I like my TV, my air conditioning. I like all those conveniences. I don't want to go back anywhere. I want to go forward where we have free energy. Do you know how many people have invented free energy technology only to be killed by the J system? People have invented cars that run on water. There's something called the solar. If I was elected president, right? The first thing I would do would be to get rid of all of the J's in the government. If you're J in the, you're not allowed to be in government anymore. We're kicking you all out, and we're immediately cutting off Israel. And if you have dual Israeli citizenship, you J, whatever, you're out, gone, right? Very first thing. Second thing is to make every aspect of pedophilia illegal. Set up programs to go after those motherfuckers and kill them. It's a kill thing. You get caught with a child, you're getting killed. We're not going to let you do it time and time. Eventually, so you get arrested and then live in protective custody and prison for however long. TV, video games, 3 square meals. You don't get fucking raped because you're protected. Like, no, that's not okay. You definitely don't get to go to the Vatican and live your life out either. But one of the first things I would do as far as, my goal would be to eliminate money. But until we can actually do that, we have to make the money work for us. So one of the first things I would do would be create a whole shit ton of jobs, because I would bring out the solar road technology. I would bring, the government has all these patents and all these things, the water car and all that. There would be immediate jobs to build the factories, to build the solar road technology, to build the solar road pieces, to build the water powered cars. And then you have a whole shit ton of other people that have to go through and rip up all the old roads. And then you have a whole other shit ton of people that go through and lay down the new solar road technology. And these are like Lego blocks almost. They just fit together. So when one goes wrong, you just pull it out, fix it, and then put it back. The roads, they're much sturdier than the roads that we have, and they provide free energy. If all of the roads were giant solar panels, then everybody would have free energy. Not to mention all the perpetual motion machines and the fucking ether coils and all that shit that was big fucking news in the early 1900s, 1800s, late 1800s. That technology didn't just fucking disappear. It's still being used in a lot of cases. We just don't know. We just don't get to use it. But immediately I could, lots and lots of jobs are created. Lots and lots of benefit is given to American people. We get rid of these piece of shit Jays, like, absolutely, immediately. And I would institute the living wage for the house spouse. The reality is, we live in a time, it's 2025, where everybody should be able to live a really good life without anyone having to work. We have the means, the technology, and the resources for everyone to live well without anyone having to work. Now, there's going to be lots of people that want to, and there will be lots of jobs that are needed. And even if everybody still needed to work, right? Even if you were like a stickler on that. Well, if everybody only worked 3-4 hours a day, 4 days a week, can you imagine we have everybody then can contribute? There's going to be a lot more jobs available now because, it's not 8 hours. For every 8 hours, you could either have, 2 or 3 people in that shift if you wanted to. Everybody's production soars. They're not burnt out. They'd be happy. Everybody could have jobs if that's what was needed. But the reality is we have machines, and machines can do a lot more of the jobs than people think they can. The only reason a lot of times that doesn't happen is to, so people can continue working and living. You always, You always get these death, doom, and gloom idiots who talk about, death, doom, and gloom. That it's all they're trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us all. They'll never kill us all. They can't. The thing about the ultra rich, the ultra powerful, is that they live lives that we can only imagine. And when they say, "Hey, you know what, sweetheart? Why don't we head on over to Monaco to watch the races, and then we'll go down to Tahiti for a little while and just soak up some sun, and then what? Jump over to Switzerland, and we'll do some skiing, and then we'll head over to Burning Man because I really want to do Burning Man, and then we'll go to they want to be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And the only way you can do that is if we are here to have it ready for them when they get here. That's why we're here. And, you can't have all your servants living in a place and ready for you to get there. You want them to be happy. If they're not happy, well, then your service isn't going to be as good. Nothing sucks worse than when you go to like a restaurant. Well, not nothing, but it's bad when you go to a restaurant and like the waiter is in a shitty mood or whatever. Like, dude, I'm fucking paying you. You better, whatever bullshit you have going on, you better put that aside. So the same thing goes with these motherfuckers. They want us goyim to be, have that illusion. As long as we do this and we don't ask too many questions, we go to heaven when we die. We get our paychecks and blah blah, and we have children. Those children, well, they have to be entertained, they have to be educated, they have to be fed. So you have to have people in the schools, you have to have people in the hospitals, you have to have people in the fucking grocery stores, you have to have all these servants in all these different positions to feed the servants and take care of the servants. So it's the system that perpetually works to keep the people at the top living good, doing what they want to do, and they'll never change that. If they wiped us all out and they had to redo everything, reteach everything, that would take forever. COVID wasn't about wiping us all out. COVID was about retaking the control. People forget where we were in 2018, 2019. There were literally protests all over the world. The Yellow Vest movement. Remember the Yellow Vesters? This shit is they'll never wipe us out. They were just trying to retake control. And they did. They rolled the dice, and it was either we're gonna fucking revolt and not allow this to happen, or they'll have QAnon telling everybody to trust the plan, and we were right there. We were ready to revolt back then. And they told us to trust the plan, because QAnon was bullshit. QAnon was what they did. The reason why they boasted and boosted QAnon to where it is, or where it was, is so that from then on, they could say things like, "Oh, you're just a QAnon conspiracy theorist," and shut things down. That's where the term conspiracy theorist came from. The FBI, the CIA, the people talking about the Kennedy assassination was getting out of control. And the truth was coming out way too much. So what'd they do? They went to the well. They know how this works. One of the best examples of it is anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic. They figured out that if they just call you a name, it'll back you off. If they put a negative connotation behind it, like conspiracy theorist, then people will go, "Oh, no, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a good boy. And it worked like gangbusters, man. They were able to shut shit down. That anti-Semitism was originally coined in the 1880s or sometime in the 1880s. And it was because the people were opposing the J supremacy that Semitism represents. Semitism, policy or predisposition favorable to the Jays. Originally, anti-Semitism was a rallying cry. And funny enough, In 2021, again, all the meth, all the crack makes you really smart, I guess. In 2021, they decided that anti-Semitism should no longer be spelled ANTI hyphen capital SEMITISM, and instead should be spelled ANTISEMITISM, all one word, no caps. The stated reason for doing that was because they didn't want the Goyim to think that anti-Semitism opposed something called Semitism. They literally want you to think that Semitism isn't a thing. So they decided to change the spelling of a word, which means all the legislation, all the books, all the everything somebody has to go back through and change all of, you know how much work, effort that would take to change the spelling of a word like that? Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of them change of any word being spelled differently after 140 years? 140 years later, we just decide that we have hearings on it. We have, whatever legislate, however that works. But they passed this idea. It's passed. Have you ever heard of that before in any other context? No. Rock and Glass House, you keep avoiding the question. That's the second time you said that. Are you don't please, if you're actually real and you're in the comments, whatever you do not fucking engage with these. These are bots. Okay? This is no. Let me show you. So now we're gonna look up team, because me, I'm always looking up fucking crazy sources and shit. So this is Team Jorge, and it's Wikipedia. Now, if you're one of these dumb people that thinks you can just edit Wikipedia, let me show you something. This is interesting. So I click the edit button, and I click edit without logging in, and let's just say I do this. Okay, I make an edit to the page. Okay, go ahead, click publish. Oh, error, not published. This IP address range has been globally blocked. This does not affect your ability to read Wikipedia pages. Most people who see this message have done nothing wrong. Some kinds of blocks restrict editing from specific service providers or telecom companies in response to recent abuse or vandalism, which can sometimes affect the users who are unrelated to that abuse. Review the information below, blah, 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 blah. This block will expire on 5:37, April 9th, 2027. So it's been changed. It was January 19th, 2026 last time. Or January 29th or something. Remember? So now I've had an extra year and a few months added to this block. That's so strange, isn't it? Isn't it strange that I wouldn't be allowed what for what? I thought anybody could just edit Wikipedia. And the thing is, some of you might actually be able to edit Wikipedia. But if you do, and it doesn't go with the narrative, their bots will just erase it and make it how it's supposed to be. But I just showed you how I can't edit this shit. So I guess this isn't a credible source. But here, just listen. Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Israeli contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm-run social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections. So you're like, that doesn't say anything about fucking with YouTube. If they can affect the outcome of elections and they can hack into, highest ranking government profiles and all that shit, then fucking with my dumb YouTube page, the YouTube page they supply me. Remember, YouTube is owned by them. Barbink used to be the head of the Israeli cybersecurity apparatus, and he was interviewed by Al Jazeera, and he said that they have their system set up to flag anyone who is talking about Israel, talking about Palestine, talking about anything like anything. They can have their shit set to anything. And when the system notifies them, they then take that material and they quote contact Facebook, which is, I don't know how you do that, but they are able to. And they quote and quote, Facebook usually complies with the request to take the thing down or shadow ban or whatever it is, that person. Israeli cybersecurity apparatus former head Barbink admitted this. They control social media. Team Jorge is just one, could be big, could be small, we don't know, extremely well-funded Israeli black ops organization that wasn't shut down. I'm reading you this. It wasn't shut down. It was exposed, but that doesn't mean it was shut down. These guys were involved in the Cambridge Analytica scandal. These guys, when our society tells you that Russia interfered with the 2016 election, yet they provide you with no proof or no even real evidence. Like I don't know how they even interfered. They try to say that we're such dumb goyim that we could think one way, but if we saw a certain, if they sent a link our way or we saw a post or something like that, that because of that post, we would change our minds. That's how stupid they try to make us sound. But you've never seen a single piece of evidence or anything like that shows Russia was involved. And they say that Russia was involved. They insinuate, they don't come out and flat out say it, but they insinuate that Russia was involved to make Trump win. Well, Trump lost the 2016 election by 2.7 million votes. Million votes. 2.7 million, back then especially, was a shit ton of votes. Still is a shit ton of 2.7 million people. That is a shit ton of people. He lost by 2.7 million votes. And for the third time in history, in modern history, the first two being when both times George Bush Jr. won, the Electoral College had to come in and say, oh, we got it wrong. And the swamp, the J swamp that Trump said he promised he was going to drain the swamp. The swamp is who put him in, even though he lost. So when you talk about who interfered with the 2016 election, well, Team Jorge does that. Team Jorge, the group was one of the organization's primary tools is a software package called AIMS, Advanced Impact Media Solutions. The group was exposed in February of 2023 after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Israel and France as part of a consortium of investigative journalists coordinated by Forbidden Stories. The organization has been active since at least 2015, prior to, and boasts of having manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide, many of them in Africa, so don't worry, and in 27 cases with successful results. Now, on paper, they've been active since 2015. From what this group could prove, they've been active since 2015. Their leader, Tal Hanen, claims that the organization has been in operation for at least 2 decades. 2 decades. Extremely well-funded, super secret Israeli black ops organization that is a sabotage for hire organization. Literally like smoking gun kind of shit. And you would think like this won awards, this was official journalism, blah, blah, blah. Do you remember NBC News, ABC News, CBS News, CNN News, Fox News? Do you remember hearing about this story from any of those big fucking news networks? I wonder why. Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv, carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal Hanan, the group's leader and former Israeli Special Forces operative, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. Tal Hanan used the pseudonym Jorge when working with the hacking and disinformation group, which inspired the name Team Jorge. According to Tal Hanan, the group's leader, Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. Do you guys remember in 2016, shortly after Trump took office or whatever, 3 listening devices were found around the White House, placed strategically so that they could intercept like basically everything coming out of the White House. If you the White House was in the middle of the triangle basically. And it came out that those listening devices were Israeli listening devices. And then the story went away. You guys remember that? Can you imagine if it was China? China virus. If China would have had listening devices stationed, strategically placed all around the all around the White House, you think that would have been a story that just disappeared? However, its first documented activity dates back to 2015. Their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. That doesn't sound like these bot trolls on here, does it? One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands of fake social media profiles on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, and others. YouTube. Blah, blah, blah. The group also employs hacking techniques to brute force accounts of potential victims. Gee, that's not what we experience here, is it? Where it's a bunch of fucking weird fake profiles with no followers. They're not following anyone else. No subscribers. No, nothing posted, nothing. And they come here not to debunk what I'm saying, but to tell me not to say it and to attack people that listen to me. Gee, that doesn't sound like brute force accounts of potential victims. Nah. Team Jorge's activities were revealed after a sting operation by 3 undercover journalists, blah, 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 that filmed interactions with Tal Hanan in Tel Aviv in 22, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. To test Team Jorge's abilities, the journalist tasked it with a disinformation campaign, called RIP Emmanuel, spreading a death hoax about social media personality Emmanuel the Emu. The hashtag was used in over 1,300 tweets, and a tweet from Emmanuel's owner saying he was not dead received millions of views. In the conversations, Hanan boasted of having interfered in 33 presidential level campaigns, 27 of which had positive results for the faction that hired them. Hanan claimed responsibility for the 2019 cyber attacks against the Central Elections Committee of Indonesia, made to look like it had come from China for political reasons. Are you guys hearing this? Again, this isn't... What am I making up here? Media outlets, including Bloomberg. Go figure, Bloomberg. You guys remember when Bloomberg ran for president? spent over $500 million in a fucking losing campaign. Guys, remember that shit? Nah. Media outlets, including Bloomberg, reported on the attack in March 2019, noting the probable Chinese-Russian origin of the interference, while an investigation by The Guardian noted that it was more likely the work of other hackers, leaving a false trail. So Bloomberg was sensationalizing false reports to make China look bad. You know what's weird? It reminds me of how with this New Orleans thing, how immediately they were saying, oh, this looks like an ISIS attack. This looks like an ISIS attack. This has all the hallmarks of an ISIS attack. We're not saying it's an ISIS attack, but it has all the hallmarks of it. Even though the last time somebody did that thing where they drive through a crowd of people was a Trump supporter. Yeah, never mind that part. But it's that same narrative where the news organizations that we're supposed to trust are pushing a fucking an agenda. You know, did you guys know that that thing happened December 31st, January 1st. January 1st, January 2nd, in New York, there was a shooting that killed 10 people. At the time, the New Orleans thing was only said to kill 10 people. They hadn't had the 5 extra die after that. But nobody was calling the New York thing a terrorist attack. Right? Why not? Vets going off. Who's a vet? I have a mixed feeling about vets. If we see an old guy with a fucking hat on or whatever, who was tricked into fighting some fucking Israeli bullshit, lost his life, suffered PTSD, his whole blah, blah, blah. My kids always, we go up and we thank them. Thank you for your service. We definitely don't support the military. We don't say this, but we always say thank you because we want to fucking help that old person. They're wearing that hat for acknowledgement. Acknowledge them. Thank you for your service, you stupid, dumb kid that got tricked into fighting for something that you thought was one thing but really wasn't. You know? So I feel that way, but like at the same time, if you join the military, you know there's a really good chance you're going to kill innocent brown people and you do it anyway. You know, most people, especially older vets, when you ask them if they would redo it, if they could not do it, would they not do it? If they could go back and not do it, they all say yes. They all say yes. Because they realized they were fighting for Israel. It's all Israel. World War I and World War II were about Israel. You know, the Balfour Declaration, which should have been called the Rothschild Declaration, but they were trying to hide the true owner, so they had the Balfour guy wrote it out, but then the Rothschilds put it out. That was the declaration that said they needed an Israel. All of a sudden, then we have World War I, which, yeah, lots of other shit happened, but the main goal was putting the British in charge of Palestine. So Palestine becomes British Mandate Palestine. And for the next 30 years or so, the Palestinian people become completely reliant on the British, especially for protection, especially for military purposes. The Palestinians weren't joining the military. They had the British were there to take care of everything. Then you have World War II, which gives the whole false hoax narrative, 6 million, blah, it's all fake. It's all fake bullshit. There were only 3 million of them in Europe at the time, and most of them escaped here, so 6 million is crazy. The true numbers are probably closer to around 300,000 who supposedly died in the camps, the work camps, after the Allies bombed all the supply lines and they starved to death. You know, the camps had their own theater groups, soccer teams, they had their own money. You don't build death camps and have the barracks heated, running water, electricity. You don't do that. These were internment camps, like we had here at the exact same time, the Japanese internment camps. They were work camps. That's all. They weren't concentration camps. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. But because of World War II and that bullshit narrative that the Germans supposedly did, well, somehow, because of the Germans, the Palestinians need to pay the price. And in 48, the British were all of a sudden pulled out of Palestine, which basically they weren't pulled out, they were just turned around. Because when they say that, May 15th, 1948, when the Israeli military attacked Palestine and took over Palestine, well, how can there be an Israeli military when there's no Israel? It wasn't the Israeli military. It was the It was the British and the United States that did that. And again, it was all because of World War I, World War II. They were all about creating Israel. Back on this. He also claimed that Team Jorge interfered in a 2014 Catalan independence referendum, hacked the emails of the Chief of Staff of Trinidad and Tobago, and leaked a document to cause a political crisis, passed false information to an ABC journalist to influence the 2012 Venezuelan presidential election against former President Hugo Chavez, ran a 2022 campaign claiming the Polisario Front had ties to Hezbollah and Iran, and another 2022 campaign defaming Ali bin Fattah al-Mahri, the UN envoy for combating corruption. The wider investigation involved journalists from a total of 30 outlets, coordinated by Forbidden Stories. I'm not going to read all the outlets. The Guardian, Der Spiegel, Die Zeit, Le Monde, the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, OCCRP, El País, and other media organizations in France, Germany, Indonesia, Israel, Kenya, Spain, Tanzania, and the United States. The global investigation, dubbed Story Killers, was awarded the 2023 Excellence in Collaboration and Partnership Prize by the Online News Association, ONA. Hainan attended meetings involving Cambridge Analytica as early as 2014. Emails leaked to The Guardian show that Team Jorge was then in contact with Cambridge Analytica in 2015 and 2017 over political campaigns in Africa and South America. The two organizations worked to manipulate the 2015 Nigerian election. The plan was to help to get Goodluck Jonathan re-elected by discrediting Muhammadu Buhari, but the campaign was unsuccessful. During the undercover meeting with journalists in 2022, Hainan showcased his ability to hack into the Telegram account of Dennis Itumbe, a digital strategist for William Ruto, during the 2020 Kenyan general election. Itumbe subsequently confirmed to the Star that his Telegram account had been infiltrated and that he noticed increased activity in the run-up to the elections. Medizou of Radio France and Le Monde found that Team Jorge created various segments of the Rachid Embarki, a French television, created various segments that Rachid Embarki, a French television presenter for BFM TV, had broadcast without editor approval, possibly on behalf of foreign governments. Gee, it's funny too, because his name is in red. meaning there hasn't been a page created for him yet. So why would you even highlight it? Lots of people have their name in here that's not highlighted either way, but I bet you that guy's a J. He was suspended in January 2023 during an inquiry by the International Investigative Reporting Teams. It was suggested to undercover reporters by a member of Team Jorge that the group was behind a BFM TV news report that discussed the effects of sanctions against Russian oligarchs on Monaco's luxury yacht industry. It was claimed that about 10,000 jobs were at risk, but this was without basis. It was one of several reports aired late at night by Embarki without the knowledge of the editorial team, planted by Team Jorge as news for hire, and subsequently picked up on social media by the team's bots. See how that works? See how that works? On February 16th, India's Congress Party demanded a probe into the possible involvement and interference of Team Jorge in Indian elections. Congress spokesperson Pawan Kira and former journalist and now Congress social media head Supriya Shernite linked the revelations about possible interference in India with a wider pattern of online disinformation and democratic and electoral abuse in the country. Why do you think, like, again, Lars, I guess, don't engage with these. I'm showing you who you're talking to. Like, how much more proof do you guys need that anyone who opposes me is probably a part of this shit? Why would anyone oppose the person exposing how Israel secretly controls the United States? Why would anyone oppose the person who thinks we should kill pedos? Why would anyone oppose the person who thinks we should get rid of the Jays in our government and all those Israeli lobbyists and all that shit? Why would anyone who isn't some dumb J pedophile be against me? Just make it make sense. You know, if you're going to waste your time arguing with bots, at least tell me a good reason. These are bots, motherfucker. Think about it. Nobody in their right mind would oppose me. Nobody. You might not like some of the things I say, but at the end of the day, you see what's going on here. You have to see the bigger picture here. It's not about me, it's the bigger picture. Tal Haynen, born in 1973. That's all we get. We don't get to know his birthday, nothing. Also known by his code name, Jorge, now think about it. If I told you that Jorge was the bad guy, would you immediately go, oh, well, that's Israel? For sure, that's Israel. They use deception in the name. Before you even get into it, you can see it's deception. They want people to think it's South American Latino kind of thing, which, gosh, aren't we told they're the bad guys quite a bit by the J media? It's kind of weird and coincidental, huh? Because Marcus pisses me off. Well, that's what he's trying to do. Don't let him. Why would anyone let some piece of shit that you don't even know who's saying horrible things affect you? You don't know. This guy probably has a fucking giant nose and little beady eyes and, you know, if he's even real, which he's not, he's probably just a bot. But this guy is just this little disgusting little troll. Thinks women's vaginas are disgusting. Either does it or encourages the cutting and sucking of baby penises. Is all about the fucking Hollywood pedo thing and the government. Like, why would you let such a piece of shit bother you? If that person calls me names, if that person doesn't like me, then I'm doing the right shit. Right? I'm proud when that person talks his shit to me. The Marcuses of the world, they're just fucking dumb Israeli bots. Don't waste your time, dude. Don't waste your good energy on some bullshit like that. Again, ask yourself why anybody would be here and not be like, man, you're fucking kicking ass, dude. Thanks for exposing this. I didn't know this was the case, but this pisses me off. I didn't know Israel was like this. I didn't know this. I didn't know this. Why wouldn't you be that way? I'm not. It's obvious I'm not Alex Jones making shit up as I go. Some controlled opposition bullshit. I'm literally reading what they want us to know. You don't have to go into the crazy conspiracies. You could just go with what they want us to know. Again, Jorge, the J, is an Israeli businessman and former special forces operator who has been involved in disinformation campaigns in order to manipulate elections in several countries. Imagine if we knew about someone else like that. Think about how crazy that is. They know that this dude does fucking, fake news bullshit and manipulates, and like, that is fucking insane. Listen, I say it all the time. If you don't agree with me that we should kill the pedos and cut off the Jays and all that, and you say anything else other than fuck yeah, man, you're right about that shit, then you're supporting those things. And that's what it comes down to. It's not overly complicated. It's actually really simple. Just like the conspiracy of the world. It's not some supernatural, devil worshipping, blah, 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 all that. It's not that. It's so much more simple than that. It's a horrible group of people that will do anything they can to remain in power. And they know they can't physically outpower us or whatever, so they use shit like God and all that. So it's self-policing mechanisms. They put these things out there so that we police ourselves and each other because they know they could never do it. Again, they have Christians believing that the bad guys in their Bible, the people that killed their Jesus, the only son of Christian God, that his favorite people, his chosen people, are those people that killed his kid and blah, blah, blah. That's how stupid they have Christians. Talk about a fucking, just a perpetual cycle of just, it's just going to suck. It's just a self-defeating bullshit. Just, hey, you know what? We promise you'll live the life that we live even better. As long as you just follow our rules while you're alive. When you die, oh man, the party starts. Woo! It's going to be so much fun. It's fucking insane, dude. It's insane. Hanan's organization, Team Jorge, has, for instance, attempted to influence the 2015 Nigerian general election in collaboration with Cambridge Analytica. I wonder what the wiki page says in Nigeria. Because it's funny how they just completely avoid anything that has to do with them manipulating anything in the United States. Like, that's not a thing. The group operate a software called AIMS, AIMS, for creating fake online accounts on social media networks and using them to spread fake news. Tal Hanan's and this is funded by us. American taxpayers are paying for this shit. That $3.8 billion a year that turns into 15 billion shekels every year. Every year. Where do you think it all goes to? It goes to pay for people like this. Tal Hanan's operation was the subject of an undercover operation conducted by journalists from The Maker, Radio France, and Haaretz in Israel, working together with the journalism organization Forbidden Stories. It was then jointly reported in The Guardian, Lamad, Haaretz, Der Spiegel, and others in 2023 of February. Hanan has denied any wrongdoing. Not denied that he did it, denied that it was wrong. And that's literally all you get for Tal Hanan. You could get to see also Troll Farm company who creates fake accounts and uses them to influence the political landscape of a country. Let's check that out. A troll farm or troll factory is an institutionalized group of internet trolls that seeks to interfere in political opinions and decision making. Freedom House's report showed that 30 governments worldwide, out of the 65 covered by the study, paid keyboard armies to spread propaganda and attack critics. According to the report, these governments used paid commentators or commenters, trolls, and bots to harass journalists and erode trust in the media. Attempts were made to influence elections in 18 of the countries covered by the studies. So we have all these different examples. Let's read them. Fuck it. Brazil. It has widely been suspected that Brazil's former president, Jair Bolsonaro, and his family created troll farms to promote support for his government policies and to attack and harass rivals through the internet. These fake accounts and bots are possibly controlled by an office inside one of the Bolsonaro's government buildings, led by Jair's son, Carlos, known as the Office of Hate, which is suspected to have created more than 1,000 fake accounts to support Bolsonaro's government. 1,000? Woo! Oh, that's a lot. Troll accounts have also been linked to misinformation related to the COVID-19 pandemic in Brazil, as Bolsonaro's government is known for having adopted a denialist and weak posture regarding the pandemic. Oh, I bet they all died, huh? I bet Brazil died, right? Didn't Brazil die? China. The 50 Cent Party consists of paid Chinese bureaucrats who cheerlead for the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, or try to change the decisions. India. India's ruling party, BJP, has a large number of online supporters who support its agenda and attack political rivals. Their methods were recorded by investigative journalist Swati Chaturvedi, who described them as a digital army in her book on the subject, I Am a Troll Inside the Secret World of the BJP's Digital Army. Malaysia. In 2022, I guess there is no Israel one, huh? Gee, that's weird. I mean, think about that. They're talking about 1,000 trolls, blah, 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 whatever. Hundreds, thousands of trolls, accounts, fake accounts. They get all these examples. China, all these places. Brazil, China, India, Malaysia, Nicaragua, Philippines, and Russia. Turkey, Vietnam, Ukraine. Isn't that strange? Israel, just Team Jorge alone. And again, Team Jorge was not disbanded and is one of many, unknown how many, but many Israeli corporations just like Team Jorge. And Team Jorge in 2022 claimed to have, depending on what you read, 30 to 40,000 at just their disposal. We're talking about, Brazil's fucking government making over 1,000 fake accounts. Oh, wow, over 1,000. The British government? Team Jorge is just one organization. So you believe his gravity is real, you just want to rename it. Why would I want to rename gravity? Why would anybody... Gravity has already been renamed. It's buoyancy and density. There's no such thing as gravity. Buoyancy and density answer every fucking thing you can say about gravity. Every claim that exists with gravity is explained with buoyancy and density. It's really, really simple. Just have to go here every once in a while. Malaysia. Meta platforms. Meta. Heard that word before. What does meta mean again? Doesn't it mean death in Israel or in Hebrew? Can't remember exactly. It's something like that. Meta Platforms announced that it has removed hundreds of Facebook and Instagram accounts that were directly linked to the Royal Malaysia Police. Hundreds. They removed hundreds of accounts. Facebook is bragging that they removed hundreds of accounts because the Malaysia police were using them. Israel has thousands. Do you ever hear anything about that? As they were used as part of a troll farm to disseminate propaganda and manipulate public discourse about the Malaysian police and the government. Meta added that such actions were against its policy of coordinated, inauthentic behavior. That's interesting. In November 2021, this is Nicaragua, by the way. Nicaragua. Facebook reported that it closed accounts, groups, and pages in Facebook and Instagram linked to a troll farm operated by the Sandinista National Liberation Front, the ruling party of Nicaragua. So Nicaragua, its ruling party is not allowed to have, social media accounts or blah, blah, blah. Yet again, Israel brags about having 30,000, 40,000. Team Jorge alone brags about having 30 to 40,000. Gotcha. The Philippines has been called patient zero in the global disinformation epidemic. The Philippines. Tel Hanan brags to have been doing this shit for 20 plus fucking years, but the Philippines is ground zero. Studies into the country's troll farms found that the political campaigns pay trolls $1,000 to $2,000 per month to create multiple fake social media accounts to post political propaganda and attack critics. Fucking A, sign me up. The political campaign of President Rodrigo Duterte has spent $200,000 to hire online trolls, according to one study. Duterte admitted to hiring trolls for his 2016 political campaign. Since then, troll behavior supportive of Duterte has been traced back to taxpayer-funded government institutions. I mean, it's just so weird to me to read how they just, when these other countries do it, it's so bad. How dare these other countries do it? But if Israel does it, it's awesome. Like, isn't that great when Israel does it? Russia, Russia. Oh, no. Russia. Mark has been an ass-kicking tour apologizing for all this? Ass-kissing tour? It's weird. Nothing about Israel, though. And Philippines is patient zero, huh? The Russian web brigades, including Internet Research Agency, became known in the late 2010s for the Russian interference in the 2016 United States elections. Yep. The Internet Research Agency has employed troll armies to spread propaganda, command Twitter trends, and sow fear and erode trust in American political and media institutions. Oh. Turkey. The ruling Justice and Development Party of Turkey has a troll farm commonly known as AK Trolls. That's that. Vietnam. See also public opinion brigades. Oh, okay. Ukraine. Oh, here we go. The closest thing to Israel. Ukrainian oligarchs and political activity and Ukrainian oligarchs and politicians actively use, which is in red for some reason, troll factories for their business and political purposes. Journalists from Radio Liberty note that the services of trolls, among others, were used by such oligarchs as Renat Akhmetov and Ior Kolomotsky. In the fall of 2019, two large-scale journalistic investigations about troll factories in Ukraine were published. That's it. Non-government entities. Facebook. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Facebook Facebook found that troll farms from North Macedonia and the Philippines pushed corona disinformation. The publisher, which used content from these farms, was banned. You're not allowed to have a difference of opinion. In the run-up to the 2020 United States elections, Eastern European troll farms operated popular Facebook pages showing content related to Christians and blacks in America. Oh my God. They included more than 15,000 pages combined and were viewed by 140 million users, US users per month. This was in part due to how Facebook's algorithm and policies allow unoriginal viral content to be copied and spread in ways that still drive up user engagement. Gee, that's weird. Because it seems like they can shut shit down whenever they want to. As of September 2021, so I guess Facebook didn't know about this shit happening in the United States. They know about Nicaragua. They know about the Philippines. They know about all that shit, but they don't know what's happening in the United States. As of September 2021, some of the most popular pages were still active on Facebook despite the company's efforts to take down such content. How? That's fucking stupid. If you've ever dealt with Facebook, you know that they just shut everything down. Harassment of Jessica Arro. Jessika. That's a way to spell Jessica. Finnish investigative journalist Jessica Arro interviewed workers at a troll factory in St. Petersburg. Arro was harassed online after she published her story. A court... What story is that? A court in Helsinki convicted 3 persons who had harassed Arro on charges of defamation and negligence. Arro has stated that online trolls can negatively affect freedom of speech and democracy. Yeah, no shit. Man, can you imagine? God, I wish I could get these people arrested. That would be amazing. People's Mujahideen of Iran. In February 2020, the New York Times interviewed 10 ex-People's Mujahideen of Iran (MEK) members who said that the MEK's Albanian camp had a troll farm that promoted the opinions of MEK supporters, including Rudy Giuliani and John Bolton, and attacked the Iranian government. The MEK claimed that former members were Iranian government spies. In March of 2021, CIB coordinated inauthentic behavior report. Facebook announced that it removed hundreds of accounts, pages, and groups in both Facebook and Instagram, which were in a troll farm in Albania operated by MEK. That's literally, like, word for word the same statement they said about the other shit. Jesus Christ. I can't believe you guys are fucking pro-Trump misinformation. In the North Macedonian city of Vilnius, locals launched at least 140 United States political websites supporting Donald Trump. Why? North Macedonian people in one little tiny city? Just come the fuck on. Turning point. During the 2020 United States presidential election and the COVID-19 pandemic, Turning Point USA and its affiliate Turning Point Action were described as troll farms for paying young conservatives in Phoenix, Arizona, some of them minors with parental support, to post misinformation about the integrity of the electoral process and the threat of COVID-19. I mean, again, it's 2025 and they're about to do it to us again. Trust me, Trump's coming into office, so they're going to do it again. Shouldn't we all be dead? Especially people like me? Shouldn't I be dead? My wife and our kids and all that? Because we didn't wear masks. We didn't do any of it. Literally any of it. Shouldn't everybody be dead? The payout included bonuses for posts that generated greater engagement. Like if I say somebody's name, they get bonuses? They used their own social media accounts or fake accounts without disclosing their relationship with Turning Point and were instructed by Turning Point to slightly alter and repost the modified messages a limited number of times to avoid automatic detection. Well, that's that. Wow. Wow. See, also, look at all of these different things they have. Fear mongering. All right, so I wanted to look this one up next because usually they don't. Usually they don't have. Ew. Reef reachier fishing. Ew, you guys are gross. Ugh. Nothing is worse than that. Literally, nothing is worse than you piece of shit, baby penis cutting, sucking, vagina hating slave owners. You guys are the worst. So you can go fuck yourself. Nope. Israel will not be around very long. I'm telling you. You guys are terrified. That's why you're here. Because you're terrified. You saw what the next generation of college and university students is doing, still doing, just not being talked about. You know your time is coming to an end. And the more people like me exist, the less fucking likely you have to succeed. Right? You see, and the thing is, you're too dumb to say anything other than what you're saying because I'm not wrong about anything. You pedophiles are disgusting. You are a pedophile. I guarantee reef reaching fishing has fucked with at least one child in their life. At least. These are pedophiles. They are disgusting piece of shit pedophiles. And their Talmud tells them it's okay. If we rape children, we should be put to death. But as long as the little girl, the child, is 3 years and 1 day old, then the only consequence for the J is that they have to pay the full dowry to the parents. They now own that little girl that they just raped, or boy. They're not real big on the gay stuff openly, but they definitely do it. But they now own that child, and that's that. And you're not going to deny any of it. You can't deny that you guys cut and suck baby penises. You can't deny that you think vaginas are disgusting. By all means, I'd love to hear whatever fucking arguments you have, but just think about it, right? Think about what person is randomly going through the internet, through YouTube, they find my feed, and they come here and they say stupid shit like that, but they don't deny anything. Who's gonna do that? Yeah, I'm sure you're an atheist. Then you wouldn't support Israel, you dumb piece of shit. They have no problem lying to us. He knows he can't justify what he's saying. If he was an atheist, he absolutely wouldn't support anything Israel. They are the worst. But I focus on this because I want you guys to see just how stupid these fucking bots are. Just how stupid these fucking people are. They're stupid. And if you aren't one of them and you support them, you take stupid to a completely different level. Because they absolutely hate you. They will absolutely kill you in a heartbeat. That's what they do. All right, so check this out. We're going to go back to Ames. Oh, it just brings me here. I thought we were going to actually get a report on Ames, but it just brings me back to Team Jorge. So that's Team Jorge. And then the other thing everybody has to know about, especially those who claim they're atheists, but they still support this piece of shit. The next thing we're going to look up is the Samson option. Now, interestingly, the Samson option page can't be. You can't edit this page. Nobody can edit this page. The Samson option is Israel's deterrent strategy of massive retaliation with nuclear weapons as a last resort against a country whose military has invaded and or destroyed much of Israel. See how they leave that in there? Right? If they could just say, well, that 5 people has invaded us. They're going to launch their nuclear weapons in every direction if they ever feel like they're in danger again. No, the people like you, your time is coming to an end. Oh, is it? Sure it is. Israel not perfect. That doesn't excuse what Palestine did to people from 38 countries. Yeah. What are you even talking about? Palestine has done nothing. You're stupid. You're fucking stupid. October 11th or October 7th, no Israelis died. And even if it was real, even if Hamas had attacked Israel on October 7th and killed 1,100 people, the 200,000 plus that have been killed since then are not justified. There's no justification for that. Oh, you're to say anything other than you're saying need attention. Yeah. So stupid. Again, instead of proving me wrong about anything, you just keep saying stuff. This flag bothers you, not me, because you're stupid. I get it. You've already said you're fucking stupid. This flag, so you're so stupid that you're showing allegiance to something you don't even belong to. That hates you. That hates you. And if you think, like people say, if you think go to Palestine. There's a movie called Where in the World is Osama bin Laden? It was Morgan Spurlock's second big film. And in that film, he goes around the Middle East looking for Osama bin Laden, just trying to figure out what's going on. And every country he goes to, the people are just wonderful to him. They treat him wonderfully, they welcome him, they do all that shit. Big dumb white guy. Until he gets to Israel. And I wonder, it's either like the handlers didn't watch the full movie, so they let this go, or they're just, I mean, again, they're really stupid. So if they saw that, they wouldn't think, oh, this makes us look bad. They'd think, oh, look at how proud those people are, or some stupid shit. But if you watch Where in the World is Osama bin Laden, the only time you ever see that Morgan Spurlock is actually surrounded by, has armed security with him, is when he's in Israel. Let's go, Spurlock.
It won't be an issue. But until that time, he can just stew in his own whatever. Yep.
Morgan Spurlock, Israel.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But just take some comfort.
Are they not going to show it anymore? Oh, here we go. So this is what, let's see what this says. Do not pass through our neighborhoods in immodest clothes. See, we hear about that shit from the Muslims, and we're like, oh, the Muslims don't let people dress how they want, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they do that too. They're worse. But literally, he gets off he gets out, and this is what happens to him.
Some questions about kind of, a little bit. No. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the current conflict.
You say so, blah, 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 blah. Now we got to come back. We're not showing.
That guy is one of the greatest optimists I've ever seen.
Wait, do you hear that?
Everything's happening. It's all an illusion. Yeah. Wow. A little bit. No. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the current conflict. Everything's happening. It's all an illusion.
It's all an illusion, he says, and he runs away. He runs away. Runs away.
That guy is one of the greatest optimists I've ever seen. How you doing? Can I ask you a couple questions? Yeah.
So now somebody's dropped something on him. He's been here for like 10 minutes.
And now there's a crowd gathering because they're going to, they're saying that they're going to chase us away.
They're going to attack them.
Gathering numbers now, so there's a big flock of people.
Because again, they're pussies. They're not going to approach the guy and be like, yeah, single-handedly. They're going to get a big crowd of people together so they can attack this motherfucker who's only come in there to just be like, hey, can you tell us your side of things? He's not even saying like, I hate Israel, blah, blah, blah. He's not me.
No chemicals.
he's saying like, this is, I just want to hear both sides of the story. So can you please tell me what's going on? Right? This is what he's doing. And this is the response that these piece of shit baby dick suckers, fucking foreskin eating, placenta eating, vagina hating, slave owning, just fucking motherfucking pieces of shit. This is what they do. You love that. You think your flag drives me, and like, can you imagine? That's how like small this person is, right? This drives you insane. He's telling himself that he's affecting me in some way. Like, you posted something and I commented on it. Was I not supposed to comment on it? No, I'm making you insane. I love it. I love that I'm too stupid to answer anything. I'm just going to keep, like, what kind of stupid ass? Again, that's this. Do you guys see? It's the same thing. They don't have the ability to intelligently, go against anything I'm saying. So they just say stupid shit. They make up their own. Oh, I'm making you mad. Look at me. I'm making you mad because I'm the one that just wants attention. And if I was wrong about any of this shit, people, these dumb shits that are here to cause problems, that's their goal, is to cause a problem. They would fucking say something. They would have negative things to say. They would debunk what I'm saying. They would make me look bad. And instead, all they do is validate everything I'm saying. I told you guys this guy was a pedo. Did he go, fuck you, asshole, I'm not a pedo? No, he goes, I want to make you mad, so I'm going to post a flag. Like, what? It's just... I just appreciate it. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate it. This would be so much more difficult if people were like saying intelligent things and I had nothing to say. But showing that that I mean so much to you that you want to affect me. So much that you're going to lie to yourself, to tell yourself that you're that is just... That's so validating. If I was wrong, this shit wouldn't be happening. If I was wrong, these people would go about with their lives. Like, if I was sitting here talking about unicorn poop, is the fucking the greatest thing ever. And if we could find some unicorn poop, we could solve world hunger. And I was making all these arguments about unicorn poop all day. Do you really think they'd be here? Do you really think people would waste their fucking time and energy doing that? No. I just read to you how this whole thing works. And maybe I should feel like, oops, I shouldn't have said that person's name, but I don't really care. Like, sure, get your bonuses. If I say your name, you get the bonus. Good job. But all you're doing is proving what I'm saying correct. Like, does this not just absolutely fit the Team Jorge narrative? Bot farm social media campaigns. Oh, I'm coughing. Must be because the weed's terrible. This trash weed we smoke. Oh, look at how trash it is. Oh, it's so trash.
In hydro with no chemicals.
It's impossible.
Yeah. I'd say we're not very wanted around here.
These people are fucking insane. Why isn't this fucking flipping? Flip, goddammit. So now his armed security. This is the first time the entire film is armed security.
What do you see here? Of majority of people here don't think like them.
Yeah, I think we've.
The majority of the people here don't think like them. One guy came and said, Really, that's why the crowd's gathering.
We found enough peace here today. It's no joke. I'm going to my car. I'm going to my car.
Look at the security guard getting it stopped. You fucking crazy ass.
I'm going to my car.
Look at the security having. Look what they haven't been there the entire movie.
That are wrong on both sides.
There are things that are wrong on both sides. There's not. I mean, granted, like you never, ever, ever, ever hear me talk about free Palestine, do you? I'm not a free Palestine guy. I don't even know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. Are we saying free Palestine back to prior to 1968? When the Israelis slaughtered a bunch of people and expanded their boundaries? Are we talking about free Palestine pre-1948 when British Mandate was in charge? Are we talking about pre-1918? Like, what are we talking about here? What would does that mean we put a monarchy in charge or, some sort of royal bullshit? Or, like, free Palestine isn't a thing. The only way you free Palestine is if you free the rest of us. The Palestinians they definitely get it worse than we do. Well, they definitely get it worse, but we're all slaves and we're all fucking, they steal our money to kill other slaves. Think about that. Think about how awful that is. Listen, like I said, their time is coming. It's by the time my grandchildren are born, I'd like to think Israel doesn't exist anymore. Or if it does exist, it exists on its own. It's just its own thing that, suffers whatever consequences it brings upon itself, and the United States is not involved. No one else is stuck being involved. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to fix this. We're going to fix the problem. By fixing the problem, we can do wonders for the pedophilia stuff. We can do wonders with the vaccine. Like, again, you see all this shit where they're still talking about how COVID-19, all the misinformation, blah, blah, blah. It's 2025. How many people do you know that died from COVID? And didn't get any vaccines or anything like that? Probably none. I've done nothing but prove everything I'm saying here today. And I do it with the help of the dumbass Jays who are too stupid to realize that they're actually proving me right. When I'm reading you what Team Jorge is, and you compare it to my feed, I don't know how you don't see it. Go get your free download. www.the-bilderberg.group.com. It's free. Just follow the instructions. It's a free download. Links will be in the description. Link to the website. Link to the Facebook page. It's our song called Putin Work. I'm doing my part. I'm doing what, this, if what I was doing wasn't dangerous, then they wouldn't be here. Oh, what are you doing to help? I'm doing it. I'm telling people it's okay. I'm being the voice for the people that want to, feel this way, but not confident enough to speak on it. I'm doing my part. All I ask is that you guys share it. Literally. Download everything for free. Share everything for free. If you want to give money, by all means, give money. But it's time we fix this. Our entire history is a lie. All the religion is a lie. The political landscape is a lie. Everything Israel is a lie They are not special. They are not anything. God's chose. That's bullshit. They wrote the book that says they are God's chosen people. No shit. That's why your Bible has their book in the front. That Old and New Testament shit. The Old Testament is their shit, right? If you got a job at Burger King and everything you read when you first opened up the literature, the first like couple chapters were always about McDonald's, wouldn't you start to think McDonald's might have a bigger hand in Burger King than you thought? We can do this. And all they've ever done is told you you're not good enough. All your good stuff, it's because of God. You didn't do it. You know, just follow the rules and you go to heaven when you die. All that other shit. These piece of shit, baby fucking penis cutting and sucking, vagina hating, slave owning pieces of shit. Their time is running fucking out. And whether you're in on this or not, like look at the fucking college campuses, university campuses. The next generation feels the same way I do. And the last thing that the Jays want is that generation stumbling across me. As soon as the college campuses and whatnot figure out that I'm here, especially the music, shit's over with. So they're doing everything they can to try to stop that connection from happening. But it's impossible. We've got this. We're going to win. Team Goyim will supersede. We'll succeed. We'll supersede it. We're going to be the fucking... It's coming. That's what December 21st, 2012 was all about. Everything. It's all about the same shit. It's not death, doom, and gloom. They're the ones that tell us everything is death, doom, and gloom. Whether it's the devil does something, in a Christian's best case scenario, Jesus finally floats down after the prayer jar gets full enough. And it's when his little titsy toes touch the ground, everybody gets raptured. All the 10 or 15 good Christians. And the rest of us die in Armageddon. That's a Christian's best case scenario. You pole shift, everyone dies. Rock falls from the sky, everyone dies. Biological invisible germs, everyone dies. Nukes, everyone dies. Samson option, everyone dies. It's all fear propaganda bullshit, and it's not real. We are so much better than that. It doesn't have to be death, doom, and gloom. And really, again, if the Jays are so awesome and so capable, then let them be. They don't need the American teat anymore. They're doing just fine. Let them live how they live and see how it works out for them. Go get your free download. Links in the description. Pedophiles, kill yourself.